Hello there, everyone. My name is GirafaStev. I'm the president of the Long Boy Club. I'm the very large enjoyer of gaming, wrestling, Santa getting crucified by a monkey from hell, and my stinky cats. Tonight, we have a lot in store, but first, I want to give a big old welcome to 2 of 3 new buddies on the stream here. I have with me right now Teddy and Ritsuhausen right here in the stream right now. How the fuck are you doing, lads?
I'm doing pretty good.
Absolutely.
I am doing pretty well, thank you.
Actually woke up at PM today.
I got the fucking Danhausen on this stream, dude. The Long Boy Club is making the fucking rounds right now.
Yeah, if you saw him on SmackDown, that was a fake. I'm the real.
You are the real Danhausen right here.
I'm not associating myself with the Miz.
Okay, but will you associate yourself with Dexter Loomis?
Yeah, sure, I like Dexter Loomis.
I fucking knew you knew bald, Dan. Dan, bro, I knew I liked you, dude. Come here.
When they did that fucking wedding angle, I love that with Indy Hartwell.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then Bobby Lashley came in and stole Indy Hartwell. That was a good bit of business, I feel like. But yeah, isn't this the short boy club? Dude, absolutely the fuck not, okay? Absolutely the fuck not. But what we do have right here is something that Ritsu absolutely popped for. When I asked, hey, you guys want to be on the pre-stream with me this evening? And I told him what we were doing on the pre-show, and I was describing the very promotion I'm about to show you guys. And when I did, Ritsu perked up. He was like, huh? he was set. Like I triggered something in his brain, and that something was pure joy. Ritsu, what the fuck is this, for one thing?
So Kaiju, wait, can I say what the name is?
Yes, what is it?
Yeah. Kaiju Big Batel is people in kaiju outfits.
Okay.
Battling. I mean, it's awesome, you know. They wrestle in a ring surrounded by paper mache or, you know, cardboard buildings, and they destroy it like it's an actual kaiju film.
I love that.
There's lore, there's a villain, there's everything. It's essentially just a fucking kaiju film in a wrestling ring.
Is it Kaiju Big Batel or Battle?
I've always called it Batel.
I mean, that's what it looks like. It looks like Batel. So
I've always called it Batel. I've interacted with the admin of their Twitter page a few times. They're really nice.
Okay.
I have bought from their PayPal store. Actually, what I sent in the chat, the 2 pins and the keychain, I got a whole bunch of other pins as well, but they're in a little mug that I keep them in. And the funny story there is, because I live in South Carolina, I got hit with the hurricane that just fucked everything up.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh man, this sucks, because my power was out. And then one day during it, I get my package from Kaiju Big Batel, and I'm like, all right, cool. Sweet.
Everything is all better. The tornado cannot hurt me any longer.
Yep, I got Kaiju Big Batel.
Yeah.
Mr. Cube is his name. Mr. Cube.
Yes, I love
Mr. Cube shields me. Shields me from Mother Nature. I love that.
I have so much love for Dr. Cube. Yeah, I'm convinced
Dr.
he's
Cube.
Chris
Okay.
Brooks. Dr. Cube. I'm convinced he's Chris Brooks and fucking Bakagaijin. I'm pretty sure.
Dude, the fucking scene of Dr. Cube that I've seen, it makes me think of fucking Dr. Weird's lab in Aqua Teen Hunger Force for some reason.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, turn it on! And then his head explodes.
Kaiju Big Batel would work so well on Adult Swim.
No, it would, dude.
Yeah.
Literally,
It
like
would
I thought about something like this and booking it for like a would be like Adult Swim, like faux wrestling promotion. But then it popped up on my TikTok feed, right? Because like a couple months ago when I was still working at Walmart. Also, before I get into this, I should say hello to everyone. Whoops, Zach, Bry, Patootie, Bradley, an idea maker. I think that's everyone so far. Hello, everyone. Wow, hold on. We're not there yet. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming on into tonight's Long Boy Club meeting. I'm happy to have you here. We're going to get into Day of Reckoning here in just a little bit, but first, we got to check this out because the moment I saw it on TikTok, I was immediately like, man, they got to it before I could. because 2 or 3 months ago, back when I was still working in Walmart, I had this idea for a wrestling promotion developed specifically for Adult Swim. It was something like this, where the wrestlers would be wrestling in costumes, or at least like, you know, attire that is, you know, conducive to you know, the Adult Swim audience. Maybe not necessarily the characters, like, I don't know if I would have someone dressing like Master Shake, although that would be fucking awesome to have Master Shake doing like fucking vice grips and stuff. But you know, something in where, you know, like they were wrestling in like extravagant, you know, costumes and, you know, pantomiming shit. And then as luck would have it, I'm at work. It's slow. I cared for, you know, all the patients that I need to care for in the morning. And what comes up on my feed but Kaiju Big Battle. And my first reaction, admittedly, was not, oh, this is cool. My first reaction was, well, shit, I need to come up with a different wrestling promotion now. because they did it before I could. So, but hey, you know what? This right here is a template, I guess, perhaps. But no, when I searched them up, the very first thing that came up on my feed was this: Santa gets crucified by Hell Monkey. I don't know what that is. I don't know what Hell Monkey is. I don't even know if these are like actual workers. Are they workers, Ritsu? Like, can I find them anywhere else besides
that
this?
I don't know.
No clue whatsoever.
Yeah, because they're all completely covered and
Because
all that.
out of all of the niches in wrestling, this is like super ultra turbo niche, you know?
Mhm.
Like there's
Yep.
like it is exactly one of its kind. You're not going to find anything else like this shit. You know?
It only can happen in wrestling.
Yes,
by the
it
way.
can only happen in wrestling, and that's why it's the king of sports. A la New Japan, if it was better than it was right now. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Gato. No. Fuck you, House of Torture. Anyways,
No.
what? Aw, okay, sorry.
Then the House of Torture rules.
Oh,
I was standing on the House of Torture side.
We,
Oh,
we
I'm
do
sorry.
quite like House of Torture.
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad.
It's all good.
R.I.P. Aaron Wolf.
That's for true.
Dude, he got fucking bodied. Like he had such a good, or like, you know, like they were strapping the rocket to him, it feels like, and then within a month they're like, lol, 3 minutes, you don't have the title
Let's
anymore.
say, wasn't it like 2-3 fucking minutes or like?
Yes, it was like 3 minutes, and then Ren won the title off of him, and then like fucking Ren Narita won the title off of him, and this is after Evil left. So I'm like, okay, so like we're still going whole hog on the House of Torture then. So get tortured, idiot.
But he did lose to the legend that is Balak Polly, so there's that as well.
That's very, very true. Yes, Balak Light. Yes. But you know what's not torturous? I mean, it might be for Santa since he's getting crucified. But what about this right here? This is Santa gets crucified by Hell Monkey. Death Valley Driver by... Oh wow, that is a Hell Monkey. He looks like a lobster.
Before I wiped my Fire Pro save clean,
Yeah.
I had a whole bunch of Kaiju Big Batel workers like downloaded and shit.
Oh wait, hold on. The fucking browser sound isn't on. Let me reset that. What's your beef with Santa, Stev? Are you on the dude? I'm not the one that has beef with Santa. That's fucking goddamn Hell Monkey here.
Yeah.
You know? I don't have beef. I'm just the messenger. I'm the messenger from hell for Hell Monkey. Who the hell are these guys?
I think they're just like workers. And stuff.
Oh, here he comes. Oh,
There's
shit.
Santa, looking holly and jolly.
Oh, shit.
Now, has the Hell Monkey been naughty or nice? That's the question.
Well, he's from hell, so, you know. I'll give you 3 guesses.
Holy shit.
Immediate holy shit chance. Oh my god.
So, Stev, do you want to know how far back this company has gone?
I would love nothing more.
Let me fact check myself before I talk out of my ass here. Kaiju Big Batel was founded in 1994.
How are they
so they've
still
been doing this shit for years.
Dude, how are they still around? That's such a long time. That's
Sheer
a long time for
fucking
any
willpower.
indie, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I can't name a single indie that's still around after that time. You
I
know?
literally outlived PWG.
Outlived PWG, outlived ECW, outlived goddamn...
WCW and Deadlock.
and Deadlock. R.I.P. Although I hope that
Yeah.
LeBron Cozone does well for himself in MLW. I don't know if it's enough to get me to watch it, but I'll at least watch him in it. So, I mean, it's free on YouTube, so I don't have much excuse. But, anyways, I kind of
Oh,
want
and they have a video game too.
What? Wait, MLW does?
No, Kaiju Big Batel.
Kaiju Big
Oh,
Batel
really?
has a video game.
Yeah, it's a RPG. It's called Phyto Fantasy.
What is
Huh,
Phyto? What's it on?
Phyto Steam.
Do we need?
I literally own it.
Do we need to play Final Fantasy on stream?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. May I see it?
Yes.
Yes. Just search it up. No, I need to see the fate of Santa Claus. So Santa a kaiju.
He might just be a good guy.
Oh, he's a heel!
Oh, fuck.
What? Are we sure this isn't Balls Mahoney?
Oh, no, not Santa
Not
Claus.
Santa Claus from the South fucking Pole, brother. I mean, it's March. We're only 9 months early. You know what? Yeah, go fuck him up, Hell Monkey, and whatever the heck this other guy is.
I think the favorite one
Dude!
that Rich ever showed me was one called Burger Bear. It's like my favorite.
Yeah, there's Burger Bear. There's a Kung Fu Chicken Noodle.
Kung Fu Chicken Noodle.
Yeah, Kung Fu
Ah,
Chicken
the
Noodle,
double
Silver
clothesline
Potato.
from Santa. You know, there are lots of Santas in wrestling. Now that I think about it.
That's a great point.
There's a shitload of Santas, but there aren't many bad Santas. Oh no, the crotch action from Santa?
Too many Santas, not enough arms.
I know.
Do you remember Santa attacking Batista on SmackDown?
Oh boy, do I. Hell yeah. If it, dude, if it was this Santa, Batista would be 6 feet under.
Hey Teddy,
Yeah,
do you remember IRS as Santa?
I do. Yes,
You will be audited.
you are the Miz, and you can be honest.
Wait, Twisted Sister. Who is this other character at the other turnbuckle? Right there. The one with the bunny ears. Do you know, Ritsu?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay, because in my head, you are the Kaiju Big Batel, like, scholar, right?
I try to know. I don't know many things about most things, but I try at least. when it comes to wrestling specifically, I try.
I thought he was some Muppet. Oh, what? Goddamn Hell Monkey? Oh, no, use a whole ass building?
Oh no!
I wonder if Kurt Angle would have walked out of this like he did in ECW.
Oh, no, dude. You just made me think of something great. I want to see Kurt Angle fucking, doing Germans on Santa Claus onto these cardboard buildings.
I learned recently that he had a match with Joe Hendry, which I had no idea happened.
What? Oh no, they're bringing out the cross.
There it is.
There
There it is.
He's going on the Antoninoki symbol.
Is this where they is this where they cloned Kota Ibushi or some shit?
What, on the cross?
Yeah, Kota Ibushi was cloned on the cross.
No, Dr. Q cloned him in a fucking lab.
There's a better one.
The Aqua Teen Hunger Force comparison is becoming more and more accurate as the stream goes on.
No, literally.
You guys in a Liger mask?
Like, there's literally an episode in Aqua Teen where, like, Meatwad summons Santa Claus with, like, an Egyptian shirt. And
It's
and
almost
Santa
time for a
gets,
2.5
like, fucking,
minute Stev get jebated break my
burned by a
dudes.
giant Easter egg and all his skin comes off. I'm pretty sure, like, that's about what's gonna happen here.
Can only hope. That sounds fucking awesome.
It does. It is awesome. It's almost time for 2.5 minutes. Stev get jebated. What do you mean? I don't know what I expected, but for some reason I expected them to do more than just put him there. Wait, we have 2.5 minutes left. What are they gonna do?
There's one more thing that I want to show you, by the way, Stev, after this. It's not Kaiju Big Batel related, but I think you'd get a kick out of it.
Okay, send it in the chat, then I'll go and get it. After this. Like, I don't know, I feel like that there's gotta be, like...
Hello, Mario.
Dark Raven, are you saying you don't want to see Santa Claus get crucified? Because I'm pretty sure that you just did.
Send it to the Discord.
Again, I don't know what I was expecting, but I kind of expected more than for them to just put him there and then say they crucified him. Maybe wrestling crucifixions in my mind are dominated by the Sandman getting crucified by Raven. But then I had to remember it's not that kind of promotion.
I went to go look at my Twitter to see my interactions with Kaiju Big Batel. I got called a peon by Dr. Cube. And there was another one.
I need to like look up Dr. Cube just for you guys.
He's my absolute beloved. I love him so much. He's done nothing wrong ever.
I mean, this right here's gotta be the end of the show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. It ends with Santa getting crucified on Halloween. Incredible.
Only in wrestling.
I love it.
Also, there's just some builder in the corner right there.
He is also a kaiju. He's giant.
Bob the building. He's building Bob the building. Oh no.
Oh, he's a building. Oh no. Dr. Cube, Kaiju Big Battelle. Kurt Angle seething. Kurt Angle seething right now. Absolutely. I don't know. I feel like I could have sworn that I saw like a fucking laboratory for Dr. Cube. Oh God.
There he is. Kota versus Dakota Bushi.
Oh, yes. Yes, yes, yes.
怪獣ビッグバトル様へ。僕の名前はイブシコータです。日本のプロレスラーです。僕の夢は
Oh,
大
it's
きな怪獣と戦うことです。ラウデンに住所を教えてもらったので、ぜひ悪の怪獣たちをやっつけたいと思い、
Look at Kota.
ことにしました。
So young. So
Little
full.
baby here.
So full of not busted bones.
Yeah.
His ankles work.
Yeah. So full of good walking ability.
とても興奮しました。そしてカンフーチキン
Oh my God. They even have a giant soda can.
No, that's a kung fu chicken noodle.
Well, then why couldn't I do Master Shake in a giant fucking costume?
よろしくお願いします。イブシコータ。PS お願いします。お願いします。お願いします。
Shake would absolutely he would absolutely get into the ring because he saw Meatwad do it well.
Mm-hmm.
I expected him to drink the WD-40.
イブシさん。イブシさん。手紙です。試合頑張ってください。ありがとうございます。頑張ります。
So you said... Okay, I need to see the rest of this. Hold on.
Part 2 is down there.
Oh, is
That's
it?
the side there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Versus Dr. Cube's Policy Part 2. Gentlemen.
Put your back into it, you sniveling! What's that?
That's awesome. Those are incredible effects.
Go! Subdue him!
What?
You can just do that, by the way. That's not editing.
Neil Breen films. Right here.
Oh, you must be
Now, I want to ask, Stev, are you familiar with Kaiju Mono?
I can't say I am.
So, I own it. I own it on Blu-ray.
Okay.
It's a movie starring Minoru Suzuki and Kota Ibushi where they're fighting kaijus. Not Kaiju Big Battelle kaijus, but actual kaijus.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I need to see this movie, I feel like. Like, is it literally just a movie of them fighting
It's just a
kaijus?
movie. Just a movie.
We gotta do a watch along of that, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a little bit of that.
I played Borderlands 2 and I looked over and I see a mushroom man fighting a professional wrestler. That is Kota Ibushi when he had all of his legs. And
Oh.
what is this man right here? Just big eye kaiju. I like him. He looks like Seaweed Monster Man.
I know he has an actual name. It's just it's hard to remember wrestler names sometimes.
I get it when it's this. But you remember Dr. Cube.
Yeah, 'cause he's my boy.
These are all of his Steves right here.
I'm fine. I need your boy segment down here right away.
Kota got done dirty in WWE.
No, I'm not paying that. Let's get him over here right
He was in the Cruiserweight Classic.
I mean, to be fair, he didn't give him a chance to make him.
Yeah, I was about
Dirty.
to say, like, I feel like that he got spared a lot of stuff by only being in the Cruiserweight
Like-
Classic. So,
He had like 1 or 2 NXT matches too.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
and that was at the time where it was like work rate NXT as well. So, oh
Yeah,
god,
NXT.
oh shit.
Father, the mushroom man is scaring me. Ah.
Don't worry, Homunculus, I'd be scared of it too. What about this guy right here? This is like the thing that's chasing like the guy in the robot movie in SpongeBob.
Oh yeah.
The sunglasses. It's the Cruiserweight Classic still going on to this day. To this day, it's still going on. What?
They still got Brian Kendrick out there doing fucking crazy shit.
Yeah, exactly. Some say that him and who all did he face in the Cruiserweight Classic? I'm trying not to call it the Continental Classic because now the C2 means something else in my brain. So
Yeah. Cedric Alexander, probably TJ Perkins.
he's facing TJ Perkins to this day.
to this day.
To this day.
Dude, that's big TJP.
That's big.
Doing the dab.
That's big titties, junk, and penis right there. Brian Kendrick out here posting COVID conspiracy theories. He's out here saying that the moon landing was actually done by Dr. Cube.
Nah, he drove for that.
How all day, you know. Seriously. Yes, enough of your drivel. Out, out.
Behold, I have put a pepper inside of this Sasquatch.
You caused quite a stir, but no matter. I have plans for you. And then get me a syringe now. It won't hurt a bit. It's going to hurt a lot. Put this one in the Clone Meister 2000.
Do you think Kenny's ever seen this?
Oh, 110%.
I'm sure, yeah.
He saw this and he was like, I'm gonna dress up as Sans in 2019 for sure.
It is, dude. Actually fucking insane seeing that during my watch along.
It was.
Oh my, how very polite.
I don't even know if I've even told you that, but me, Teddy, and Tom were just watching 2019 2020 AEW because I wasn't watching at that time. So to actually experience that sort of in real time is surreal.
Take this airplane ticket and go.
Reggie was too busy being a Fed soldier during that.
That's real.
Making me lots of money for me, Dr. Chu.
I'm pretty sure when Richie showed me this, I said that the fake Ibushi is the one that fought Marufuji that one time.
This fake Kota Ibushi is the one that teamed up with Kenny as the Golden Lovers.
Mm-hmm.
What to do with this you? I know.
The original's still in the fucking lab. greatest thing ever.
Is there more of this or no?
I think that's it.
So what? We don't know what, dude. What comes of the real Kota Ibushi? What happened to him?
Gotta come up with that fucking conclusion yourself.
It's up to interpretation.
Yeah.
He just fucking got the hair lotion that Steve got that makes his feet giant. It's great. Cool. Well, I feel like that's pretty good setup for what we're gonna be doing tonight.
Wait. We gotta watch one more thing. I sent it to the Discord.
Okay, hold on. Let me
I need
snooze
you to
it.
see it.
Okay, I'll see it. You got it. All-Star Pro Wrestling.
You got the golden truth.
The golden truth. That's Kota and Ron Killings. What is this?
I need you to see how he comes to the ring.
What is this?
There he is. And the Ricky Pose and everything.
He just keeps it.
He's so happy in the Okada Zoom.
Yeah, literally like the Okada Zoom. Oh my god, no, you're right. That right there is emote material. This right here. Someone screen cap this and put it in the Discord server so I don't forget. Okay. This right here is emote material.
Do you have any? Do you know who Ricky Dozan is at all?
I do. I am familiar with Ricky Dozan. He's like one of the grandfathers of all Japan. So
straight up God himself.
He's like one of the grandfathers of like, you know, the King's Road style as we kind of know it.
Yeah.
So
and he's like, oh, I'm gonna go drink after I got stabbed, and then dies. It's like, all right. Bro.
Okay, but then he comes back from the dead like this, right?
That's true.
That's what happens because he's just
why we have
that goated.
Yep, and that's why we have Yuto Ice now.
Yuto
Ice is Ricky Dozan. Yeah, I that's one of my favorite wrestling game entrances like ever.
Yeah, it's so good.
Get high.
I also the also pro wrestling like 1 and 3 like because Forbidden 2 does not have interest whatsoever, but 1 and 3 have really good entrances in these games.
I'm fucking screen capping this just in case no one else is doing it because I need to remember this. I need to remember this for later. This right here is a surprise tool that'll help us later. No, I couldn't recognize him at first, but now that you've said that he's Ricky Dozan, I now recognize him. I'm posting this on. Hold on. What game is this from? All-Star Pro Wrestling. Okay.
Yep.
New profile picking. Hold on. How do you spell his last name?
Oh, it's one word.
It's one word, yeah.
Okay.
It's a Riki.
Okay.
Dozan.
Smiling after being graced with resurrection.
And you know what's even funnier? Is that pose is legit taken from an actual photo of the actual Ricky.
Hold on.
We call it the Ricky pose.
Ricky Dozan. There he is.
Yep.
Like this.
There,
This right
yep,
here.
pretty much that one. Yep.
This pose right
He's
here.
so happy. He's so happy.
Dude, it's a splitting image. It's great. This is what she sees. No,
Also,
literally, this face looks like someone that you would find in a Yakuza sub-story. I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised if, like, they just fucking put Ricky Dozan in a Yakuza sub-story, and he appears like this. So...
Also, for a fun fact, the also opposing games were made by Square.
Were they made by Square?
Yeah, Square made these games. Made the three games.
Like, they didn't just publish them?
I'm pretty sure the developer too. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Uh,
Please tell me that Egg is back. Dude, he's fucking stuck in the Day of Reckoning time loop. We gotta fucking save him, but that's not for a while. I was gonna make him for the Forbidden DoR just as a little bit of fan service.
It's almost time for a 2.5-minute Cheetos break, my dudes.
Work stressed me out this week, so I didn't get a chance to. Work is hard right now, so... Alas, Egg Hachi's gonna need to stay trapped within the egg zone. That being the fatal four-way between himself, Randy Orton, Triple H, and Shawn Michaels. Ow!
so yeah, I looked it up. Yeah, it was made by developed by Square.
Okay.
Also, could you guess when that game came out? Could you guess based on that image?
It looks like a 6th gen game. So, I'm gonna say 2003.
I don't think too far. 2000, June 8th, 2000. It came out
Oh! On what?
on the PS2.
I mean, I guess it was in Japan at least when, you know, like that point of 2000 rolled around. So
Yeah. I mean, they two sequels, one in 01 and one in 03.
all right.
Ichiban would have been in prison.
Ichiban,
Yeah, that is true.
dude, Kiryu would have been in prison too.
Yeah.
Dude, why does everyone go to jail in Yakuza? Anyways, I'm gonna go to the actual break right now, chat, and we're gonna get things set up on our end for DOR. So hold on just a second.
I'm gonna go grab a drink real quick. It'll be a second.
All right, be quick. Because they're criminal, but they're good people.
I mean, they didn't commit the crime they went to jail for, although neither one.
That's very true. Neither of them actually committed the crime that they went to jail for. So, and plus, Ichiban is Ichiban. Okay, I feel like that should give him a pass. I feel like that should count for something, but apparently it doesn't in this economy. So, unfortunately, that means we got to go to break. See you guys in a few. All right, we're back from break. Manga Comment, thank you very much for the raid, my friend. What were you playing over on your end? Did you have fun with it? Thank you very much for raiding on in. We're about to play the Forbidden DoR mod in WWE Day of Reckoning.
Oh yeah.
I have my friends Ritsu and Teddy here with me. Another friend, Siren Skylark, is going to be joining us here later on in the night. But for now, we're going to be doing some 3-player shit with it.
Oh yeah.
Hold on just a second. There we go. Let me just pop in my totally legit fucking GameCube disc here.
Very real.
Very real. What screen do you guys see on Parsec?
I see the blue screen with you right there.
All right. What
Now,
do you
now I see the game.
Okay, cool. Now you see the Forbidden DoR
John
Yep.
Blood.
with
Yeah.
Big Dick John Blood and Cock Steiner. I'm pretty sure Cock Steiner is playable here, right?
Yep. Jeff Scott is in here. Yep.
Great. Alright, hopefully it saved my music settings, otherwise we're gonna get blasted by the public enemy here, right off the bat. No, it didn't save! Of course it didn't! Ah! Yeah, boy! Get back as the Incredible! Bring the noise! I don't know why I did the Sitski thing there. It wasn't my fault. It's the public enemy. Alright, yeah, we're gonna do some 3-player shit here first. I'm pretty sure we have everything all calibrated here on the GameCube. Fuck it, we're gonna start with hardcore. And it's going to be at... Let me see here. Because I'm pretty sure, like, a lot of stuff here is kind of an amalgamation of stuff from, like, all the GameCube wrestling games. So... Like, I know that the construction site, shopping mall, etc., those are all in the revenge mode of Mania 19.
Yep, that's right.
The Triple Cage, also famously in revenge mode. No, it's not. Although I'm pretty sure revenge mode was in the famous film Ready to Rumble. So,
Yep.
we also have Elevation X, the barbed wire deathmatch, which I'm very excited to try out. I don't know. What do you guys want to start with first? Because we do
I didn't
have,
realize there was a
like...
shoot fight arena. What the fuck?
There is a shoot fight
Yeah.
arena, and it's really crazy.
Because
Because...
not sponsored by Parsec.
Sponsored by Parsec and Twitch itself. The Forbidden Brawl for All is crazy. I mean, like, listen. Listen, if they ever added Bradshaw to this, then this would be the place to use them. So... Or Butterbean, who famously had a match last year. Which,
Yep.
to my surprise, sarcastic, was, doo-doo. It was like Minoru Suzuki and Butterbean, because, like, I was going over the Wrestling Observer Newsletter Awards with my friend Zach. And... Listen, there's no way that Cena and Cody can be worse than that. I refuse to accept that as a possibility. Oh, it's the B button.
I forget the first track last time I didn't fix them. Oh well.
Who here would be the best shoot fighter?
Undertaker, he's the best pure striker.
I thought I had to get to the 14th tier in the battle pass to get him.
Of course.
In the not battle pass to get him. I think Brutus Beefcake would be a good shoot fighter. But,
The booty man.
the fucking infamous, feared across the ages booty man. 2K Battle Pass. 2K Battle Pass. I just shit out my ass. Put it up my PC, cause I need me to get the 2K Battle Pass. I don't want to play as the guy on the main roster. I want to play as Shoot Fighter Kane here. Have you seen Kane, like, Masked Kane's entrance in this game? Because I ran a practice match before this to see how, my GameCube worked it. And the way he came out was absolutely horrifying to me. Every single sprint is a flying asshole. Guys.
It calls it the rear view!
He calls it the brown nose.
Christian with that reach, apparently.
No, I know. Christian's butthole has reach. That's crazy. How's it running for you guys?
It's pretty good. Pretty good.
Good. I'm gonna do this on the.
All right.
Ah, no! Not the bro. Ah!
Fuck!
Holy shit!
Me!
I'm gonna brown nose you onto the Forbidden DoR logo. Hey, no. I need to remember how to pick up. Okay, you hold the button. Got it. What the fuck? I'm Kane, dude. You can't do that.
Dude, it's essentially a fucking dodge.
I know. It's great.
That rules.
They just, dude, they took away the run and then they replaced it with a flying asshole. It's great. Ow! That right there's the motion that you do when you get the 2K battle pass. Can I Irish whip you? No.
No. Oh yeah.
No, I could just like grab you by the legs. Hey, I'm trying to do something with Christian here. Give me a second.
I'll have one right here with my sledgehammer.
Flying asshole. Alberto Del Rio on a plane. So true, brother. That's him on his way to the high school with like 12 people in it. Alright, there we go. Cool.
Oh, Jesus.
Christian's in here getting his... Ah, what? Dude, what kind of reach is that?
Janky on hitbox.
Dude, that was like a whole... Dude, that was like a whole other sledgehammer that just hit me. Right there. Ow! And the weapons don't break? It looks like.
I think they do eventually, I'm pretty sure.
Because like in the base game, it was like... You use them like twice and then they're broken.
Yeah.
Damn! Holy shit!
Okay.
I mean, like, literally, like, Patootie, like, he literally, like, has to take bookings at high schools now because literally no one else will book him. Ah!
I'm going to TNA.
Ah! Yeah, this right here is the match where he's getting his papers. Hey!
Hey, stop that.
Fuck you.
That's limb work, baby.
That's limb work. In the cage, brother.
So, fun thing, they increased the amount of weapons you can have at one time in this mod. So instead of like 4, you can get 255 weapons out.
You get what out?
You're allowed to get up to 255 weapons out.
255 weapons out at any given time?
Yeah.
Oh, that's... wait, what are you doing with the kendo stick over there?
Hello, Mario.
It literally sounds... Dude, when Christian's head is next to the kendo stick, it sounds like an insect. It's great. What's good, my long neck? The Forbidden DoR is good, Dan. Hello. Welcome on in.
I'm the bone cracker. I crack bones.
No.
I'm the come from behind. I am the back attacker. This right here is literally the music I warm up to in the gym now. So.
Oh, yeah. Yo, Siren, hello.
Wait, Siren here?
Yep.
Siren! We'll add you to the thing here in just a minute, okay?
Hello.
Hi, Siren. I'll add you and you...
That's fine.
I'll add you to the game and to the stream here after this match, okay?
That is okay. Take your time, puppy.
Cool. Well, hold on. I'm gonna go ahead and... share the fucking footage on Discord. That way you can just see
Oh,
the
yeah,
game real
thanks.
fast. Because we're in the middle of a heated three-way shoot fight between Kane, Batista, and Christian Cage.
It sounds
Fuck
like
you.
Kane and Batista were in a shoot fight. Christian was also there.
It's a handicap
hanging
match.
out.
Hey! Ow!
Why the fuck y'all have 2 hydrogen bombs fight a coughing baby?
I'm getting beaten on Twitch. Help! I'm getting beaten on top of Twitch. Ow! Ow!
Right in the door!
Dude! Hey!
No, this is fair. You picked Kane.
Help!
Yeah.
Help! Help!
God, I forgot how fucked up this shit is.
Fuck you!
Oh, momentum shift.
Fuck you! Eat my tombstone, bitch! Ah!
Eat pant.
Eat shit, man.
The bra fra.
Hey! Oh no, no! Not the camel clutch! Shit!
The accolade.
The fucking accolade, yeah.
Defender, that's a great question.
I hear
there's so
Triple
many
H hates the
YouTubers
phrase Forbidden Door. Oh, listen. Look at this.
Well, I think he also just hates a lot of really obvious good ideas.
To be fair, I don't care what Triple H hates.
Yeah, Paul can eat corn the long way. I don't know what they would do as the main story, I guess, other than probably just
Hold on just a
world
second.
champions fighting each other.
Yeah.
That or traditional Survivor Series blood and guts match, I guess.
Yeah.
Or probably just war games at that point.
I mean, like, for a long time, the default, like, main thing would be, like, you know, the final battle of the Shield. But, you know,
Yeah, that would actually probably be a good one.
that would probably be the main event that people would want.
Yeah. I think they could do a triple threat WWE title or world title.
Like, get off. Oh, jeez.
What do you mean, get off? Hey! You get off.
What the hell?
I'll get off if
did
you
I
get
do?
off, okay? We'll get off together. Dude, why the fuck are you getting up so quick?
I'm Christian, dude.
I'm Christian, I'm going to TNA. I need to look good on the way out. Alright, well, look good with this. Scorpion Death Drop. Oh, wait, that's not Scorpion Death Drop. Hey! Ow.
Damn it.
Only turn heel on the entire company by letting the entire WWE roster to show the sneak attack on WWE.
Together. First, your finisher.
What now?
God, building the whole thing around Jericho?
Together, does your finisher. Do the phase of it.
Fuck.
Why are, dude, why are you Gabe Kid maxing right now?
Oh, shit.
Fuck you.
No.
Fuck you and your spec. Hey! Hey! What are you doing? I'm the one that's not going to TNA.
No!
You both are like cock blocking me right now.
Riptide!
Okay. Okay, go ahead and like put this away, Christian, because I want to get Siren into the game.
Kill switch.
No, I'm gonna get up actually.
Kill switch.
Batista, can you like fuck off, please?
1, 2, 3.
Okay. Can you fuck off for real? Wow. I am the best shoot fighter of all time.
We have to go home.
I am so hard right now.
That's awesome.
Oh, elite Scooby-Doo.
All elites. You think this shit is fake?
No, that's my dead brother.
Fridays in my boots.
Where
You think this is fake, but you don't think Benghazi is fake?
where the
I
fuck
don't know.
is Butterbean? I heard they were supposed to wrestle Minoru Suzuki.
Where the fuck is Vicky?
That's that right there's the best one. Wow.
Alright.
I'm pretty sure that you could join the Parsec without being friends with me on Parsec.
I don't have you anywhere.
Do you see the link I posted?
Oh, I totally forgot about that. Thank you.
Yeah. Wait. Hold on. What music does he have?
Time to rock and roll.
What?
Control.
But Kane's music is in the game.
Sometimes where the music we get bumped up a little bit. Sometimes it happen.
I feel so fabulous right now.
But like in actual entrance in the game, he would
That's
come out
what I'm
to
fucking
change
talking
things.
about, baby.
Yeah, it's time to rock and roll, alright. Okay, cool. Siren, we're gonna bow out of the game real quick, so that way I can help you set up your Parsec stuff, okay?
How can I hear you twice?
Probably because of how my thing is on Parsec.
Oh, okay. Me control, and now I own the street. The keys to the city, that's cause I get down. Time to rock and roll. I listened to the whole anthology like 2 weeks ago. All 3 discs.
Oh yeah.
So this shit was in there, and I was like, oh, fuck, I love this song. What do you need me to do?
Well, what I need to do is I need to have my audio go through something different so that you don't fucking hear me on there. To exclude from there. Where's Shot. Look at the music they gave me.
John, can you believe this shit? Whoa, time to rock and roll.
At least, you know what? At least I'm not paired up with my stupid ass dad.
Yeah. I'm so glad Mark put you in a concrete prison.
I'm so glad he buried him in cement.
But luckily, if he comes back, I'll have a freezer to put him in.
Oh, do you want to get me on screen real quick?
I will. Hold on, I just want to... You know he can't stop!
That terrified the shit out of me. Oh my god.
That scared the shit out of me too, wow. Hold on. I'm gonna put on the appropriate waiting music here. Me channel. Do you still hear me through Parsec? Do you hear me like doubling up?
Yes, I do.
Fuck. Okay. Hold on.
Yes.
How about this?
Yep.
Fuck. Now?
Yep.
Shit, dude.
I mean, I don't mind.
You don't mind?
If it gets the job done, it gets the job done.
It does get the job done. Can you hear the fucking thing?
Of course I can. You're playing your whole computer to me.
Oh.
You're doing the whole computer. That's how Parsec works.
Okay. Because I've only ever hosted Parsec. I've never like actually done it with other, on another person's PC. So
I've only ever hosted it, so I understand.
Anyways, let's get you booted up.
Sorry, I got excited.
I love the Nintendo Wii much more than my dumbass dad.
I don't think you understand. If they make a... Dad, if you don't get me a Nintendo Wii for Christmas this year, I will set myself on fire.
And it better come with Mario Galaxy or my brother gets it too.
Well, actually, Mad World would be pretty sick. That'd be pretty great, actually. I'll take no more heroes. That'll be okay.
Travis touchdown is fucking awesome.
You guys have your soundboard volume low?
Do I have my soundboard volume low?
Yeah.
Oh,
Just a warning.
hold on.
She Travis on my touchdown till I.
Hold on.
Alright, are we setting up a controller? I'm sorry.
Yeah, we need to set that shit up. So you can go one by one. You should have, control of my mouse.
Well, I don't. Wait, what? Real? I don't think that's my controller though.
No, number 2 would be the controller. It would be the next second one. The SDL. Number 2 would be yours.
Yeah.
Oh. But I'm not seeing it move.
Well, that's because you need to configure it.
You only have to do
Oh, I'm
buttons.
stupid. Never mind.
Yeah, you
Thank
need to configure the controller to use the controller.
Usually mine just, once people hit the buttons, they just automatically connect.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not familiar with how it works with this, so...
Yeah, probably also do like one at a time because Richard was having problems trying to do that the first time.
And remember the D-pad, too. It's to the lower left.
That's the taunt button, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vital. Objectively vital.
Yes, absolutely. I guess if you want Rumble, you could set that up, too. But...
Nah, I'm good.
Okay.
I was connected. Also, when we go back to... when we go back to the configure.
I'm good stuff, thank you.
Okay, cool.
Oh my god, I'm so
Before-
sorry that you have Crush Shower.
I
I played that
Crush
for 2 hours, and it's the only game to ever give me like legitimate, make me actually sick.
would you like to call out my fucking GameCube library here? We got...
Before we, can I switch my face buttons a little bit before we start?
You want to switch your face buttons?
Yeah, don't mind.
Yeah, sure. You said you want to switch your buttons to Teddy.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
All right, there.
Also, hey, how's it going?
Hi.
Sorry.
Hey, Teddy. Nice
Hello.
to meet you, Teddy. Nice to
Nice to meet you too,
finally
Sarah.
actually meet you, Ritsu.
Yeah, this will be the first time I've ever talked to you, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fun.
So
Yeah.
I can only do bits. Why do you have 2 Pikmin 2s, Steph?
One is co-op and one is not.
Right, there we go.
Yeah, one is
I
co-op
also-
in the story mode, and the one is normal Pikmin 2.
I really want to play Shrek Super Slam one of these days. I've heard it's really good.
It's very stupid and fun. I like it a lot.
Oh, yeah.
What you really need
Hell
to
yeah.
play is Barnyard.
No shit.
I'm not kidding. It's fucking awesome, actually.
Sick.
Ah, okay.
Like the
I was gonna say-
Barnyard game is actually like awesome. So
Swishes. I'm just gonna say Swish's wine around. WrestleMania 19, the hipster's choice.
yeah, the
It's my
hipster's
fa-
choice
it's
if
the-
you want to get your balls ripped off in revenge mode.
Yeah.
This is the first wrestling game I ever played. I agree.
Like, it is actually crazy how fucking hard that gets. Especially
Mhm.
if you're me and you pick the Hurricane for the lulz, and then you immediately are humbled because, holy shit, not a good choice.
Yeah, I picked Austin on a stream I did for it.
Okay.
It was a mess. It's a real fucking mess.
It is, but it's...
Even Austin, it's so hard to do any of those, like, the shipyard ones.
Yes. Hold on. I'm putting you in. There you are. Hold on. I'm making sure that you're part of the festivities. There you are. Look at you.
Ah.
Look at you and your big old face and your big old eyes. on just a
Oh
second.
my god.
Cool.
There we go.
Cool, there we go. Awesome. He made like 5 more of those.
What?
He made like 5 more Dogs of Wisdom, I think. Is that what you're doing, Dog of Wisdom?
Let's do this shit.
Yeah.
Alright, cool. Fatal 4-way.
About to get cooked.
We need to do it.
Oh yeah, man.
The exploding barbed wire deathmatch. I can't see it taking us more than half an hour, honestly. Player 3, there you go. Cool. Can we all pick our shit?
You're down the screen. I think probably.
You have to go back. Yeah.
But here we go.
Cool. Great.
Okay, I think I'm top right.
Yeah, you're top right. You're player 4.
Oh my god.
No way.
The Big Show.
Oh my god. Is
Big-
this now is this oh cute.
Home boy.
Homeboy, or is this the sha-na-na-na-na?
If he has a thing, it will be no.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
But he might not have a thing because I don't think there's an entrance in this version of the game.
Damn.
There's an NPC.
I think all.
I really want to. Jonathan Coachman.
Damn it! Damn it!
Oh, what? Oh, you were gonna go with Coach?
I was thinking of. I got a couple other people I want to play. No, you play Coach.
No, I'm just like checking things right now.
Yeah, deathmatch Coach. That sounds awesome.
Deathmatch Coach sounds awesome. GC Dub,
Oh my God.
brother.
Charlie Haas.
Charlie fucking Haas.
Try ass.
This song,
I mean,
this song is hot
lifelong,
ass, by the way. Wow. Anyways,
as a lifelong New Legacy fan, I have to pick Devon.
oh my
Hell yeah.
brother,
Oh my brother.
testify.
Hello, I'm a concerned citizen who wants Johnny playing SmackDown Shut Your Mouth season mode as Diamond Dallas Page.
And donate to the
Donate to the kids fund.
exactly.
Oh, piss.
Dude, what the fuck is this sound that I'm hearing?
Oh, no music?
No, there's
Oh, there we
music,
go.
but it's very low, so you know I don't get blicked. Hey, you! The coach was over here
pissed.
doing something to the Big Show.
I forgot about this shit. I forgot about the weight class stuff.
Yeah, like if you're a short guy, then you can't really Whoa! Ah! Hey! Ow! CZ City, wow. Oh my god, we got the glass panes there?
Holy shit.
Dude, Jonathan Coachman can't get... Dude, anything that Coachman gets hit with, it lays him out for like 20 seconds at least.
Ow. That makes sense.
The big sit.
Holy
fucking
shit,
dare
the
you.
big asshole. Not to say, like, if I immediately lose this because I'm playing as Jonathan Coachman and you're playing as the Big Show,
The
I'm
Big
gonna-
Show? Star of the Big Show show?
yeah, star
Star of Knucklehead.
Star of the Big Show and the
Oh,
seminal
shit. Oh,
classic Knucklehead. What?
Too big. Sorry, bud.
He has absolutely nothing, dude. He has fucking nothing. What the?
Okay. Slowly trying to remember the controls here.
No,
Oh,
I get you.
Uh-oh.
I
Whoops.
understand.
Right? Forgot barbed wire.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh! So wait, does like the barbed wire have like an actual
shit.
like ah right in the
Oh, that's not
jugular?
what I wanted.
Is extreme.
No. No. Ah!
Oh, I'm gonna die. I'm dead.
Dude, my
no.
neck is
Fuck you.
Dude, my neck is more fucked than Edge's neck. Wow.
Well,
Ow!
I got you, bud. There you go.
Ah!
Oh, I almost went through that pane of glass.
I can't get. Holy shit!
Yo, yeah, I gotta do the spin for that
So
one.
much
That was
bar
awesome.
wire. Is this CCW? I mean, like, listen, man, we're in a non-labeled ring, okay? This might very well be CZW.
Oh no.
Hold on, I've got a great idea.
This is the most attended CZW show of all time.
Oh my brother!
Ah! Dude, you're
Black
testifying in hell right now.
Amen.
I can't. I
Alright.
can't get shit here. What? the barbed wire intimidated you.
Ow.
Ah. Okay.
Bones.
Please put me through the glass. Oh!
Fucking go.
Dude,
I'm so down.
Fuck you.
dude, that thing broke apart like PlayStation particle effects. That's crazy.
Oh no.
The Forbidden DoR can produce mind-boggling effects. No way. The Big Show is about to do the Big Show from— Ah!
Oh.
Dude, his knees are fucked.
Fuck you, man. Fuck that shit.
Oh.
I'm just wailing on edge of the
It's
corner
almost
right
time
now.
for a 2.5-minute Cheetos break, my dudes.
Hold on just a second, sorry. I'm snoozing.
Dude, Cheetos break time.
Not quite yet.
Got cold again. Oh fuck.
Oh my god, coach with the abdominals?
The technical wizard, Jonathan Coachman.
With the— oh, he's got the Daniel Garcia bandana. Of course he is.
He does.
That's coach is in his pure era.
and the Danny Garcia fit when he's not carrying.
And the Kangol?
Ah! No! Ow!
Dude, my bones. Bro.
My balls.
Just dragging him through the barbed wire.
Ah!
Stop me.
Dude, how are— Whoa!
On the ladder!
Oh, hey now. What the fuck? I was gonna do the spin. I was so
Wait, can
excited.
I can I do outside dives? No, but I can do baseball slides.
We don't have
Oh, my.
characters that can do dives, I think.
Oh, what the heck?
What?
Oh no.
Whoa!
Oh, fuck.
Fucking go, yeah. Look at the string.
Look at the size of the Big Show.
Who can stop the
Crunches!
Sorry, Big Show. Or sorry, Edge.
What the fuck? On my ass.
Alright,
Like,
I need to break one of these barbed wire tables right here. Get over— Okay, you know what, Edge? Fuck you.
No, no, wait, come here for a moment. It's a bullet.
Wait, can I not go outside? Hold
No,
on.
you can. You hold wide towards the ropes.
Okay, because when I tried to, it just got me tied up in the ropes.
Alright, but
No, don't hit me. Don't hit me from the ropes.
Dang it. Can you do me a favor? Just like go back in the ring for a moment. Just go back in the ring.
Want me to go back in the ring?
Yeah, just go back in the ring. It'll be fine. I promise.
And he's setting up spots.
In the ring. In the ring. Alright.
He's so slow getting in the
Alright,
ring.
good.
Whoa!
What the hell? Wait, did you do the leatherosity? That was awesome.
And
no idea how I
T-Von,
did
and T-Von was like, "Oh my brother." Wait, that's a projectile?
Yeah.
He's falling apart!
Now, hold on, what if—
Dude.
Oh.
Dude, after a spot like that, Coachman is looking for gigs at fucking ESPN stat.
Nah, I'm not doing a roll-up, not like that.
Is that to
Roll
say,
up with an
you're gonna roll up Jonathan Coachman?
Getting you dizzy,
Stop it.
Edge. I'm getting you
Oh
dizzy.
shit! Oh, sorry, I didn't know you were making a pizza. Sorry about that.
He's so slow. Like it is, like it's impressive how slow he is. Jesus. It is impressive how slow Jonathan Coachman is, man. You can't control me! You can't control me!
I cannot believe how much carpal tunnel I'm gonna get after today.
I know, right?
Oh, it's too big.
The A button is getting the workout of a lifetime, I gotta say. Right now. Jonathan Coachman isn't good for much, but I'm gonna have
fuck.
muscly thumbs at the end of tonight.
Fuck that shit.
Dude, he's so fucking bad! Jonathan Coachman. I don't know what I was expecting, but I was definitely expecting this. Honestly.
It's almost like a thing, I think. It's an interesting.
Holy shit,
Right,
technical wizard. Jonathan Coachman.
Who's who again?
I'm Jonathan Coachman.
Because I'm Devon.
Alright.
So I'm Edge.
Ah, fuck.
Who's
Fuck.
the Big Show?
You know,
Mitchu. Mitchu is the big show.
Eh. Sorry, I just wanted
What?
to see what would happen.
hey!
Fuck you.
No, I want to be on the Big Show show! Ow!
Hello, Mario.
Get right back up.
Ow! Howdy, how
I
goes
got a great
Forbidden?
idea.
Oh, that slam!
Oh, no,
Oh my god!
It's almost time for a 2.5-minute Cheetos break,
The
my
chop
dudes.
block with theatrics, wow.
What the hell?
What the fuck? Dude, he's still on his legs! What the fuck?
Spear.
I need to know, what could possibly be Jonathan Coachman's finish? What the? What kind of cheese is that?
That's the...
Also, hold on. I want to check my finisher. Give me just a second, by the way. We need to run an
You can't
ad.
check it from here. It's only in the stats screen.
No, I
Yeah.
know, but I want to see what it is. I need to run an ad first, but before we continue.
Look at that.
It's
I don't
break
like to
time.
play during the
Where the
ads,
heck's
so
the Cheetos, my dudes?
Raw rolls on after this. Enjoy gaming in the Clinton years.
And now we're going to power up the Virtual Boy.
Oh,
Virtual
fucking
Boy has
no.
two components, the stand, the head
I'm
unit,
gonna get a
and the
headache.
controller.
George
The stand
Wood
is packed
makes
flat,
powering on
so
the
you wanna
Virtual
take the
Boy
stand,
seem like
spread
rocket
it open,
physics.
and then set it firmly on the table with the feet facing forward for support. The head unit has got to be.
You want me to turn him
connected with the
up? Is that why you moved
controller.
my
So
mouse?
insert the controller into the spot on the head unit, and you're
Wait,
ready
you can
to
stop
go.
streaming, by the way,
Now,
to me.
take your head
Yeah.
unit.
Oh yeah,
place
that's right.
it
I can do
into
that,
the
can't I?
support bracket. You want to be
That
very
might save me
careful
some resources.
And do it gently from the back. So you tilt it in first.
Yeah,
then push
everyone's
it down. There's a little
shins
spring in the back
and
here that you can push
heads
down
are
to open up the
forfeit, it
support bracket
seems.
so it doesn't go in tightly.
Mm-hmm.
Release the
Because
spring,
Jonathan Coachman has
and
just
then
been getting
gently
bodied
tighten it
this
up with the
entire
tension
time.
control knob here on the side. Once you feel tension,
At this rate, he's
turn
never
it
gonna get on the
slightly
Big Show
upwards
show.
until it catches. You don't need a lot of tension here. It just needs to
I
support.
mean,
itself.
one day.
One
Next thing you
day,
wanna do
once
is
he
load in your batteries.
once he remembers where the
Batteries
fuck
are
he
in the
is.
controller, the front panel. Press the panel down,
Like,
gently push it
like
up,
Jonathan Coachman's gonna
and
get on
your
stage, he's gonna be
batteries
like,
will
"Holy
go
shit,
into
I
the
got,
slot here,
I
3 up
have
and 3 down.
3 fractures in my
Push it
skull. Where the
down,
fuck am
click it
I?"
in place, and then you're ready to go. The final thing is to put your game
I just got
cartridge
done
into
fighting
place.
John
Game
Zandig in
cartridge goes into the
CCW,
slot
and you want me to
underneath
do what
the
now?
Virtual Boy. Now you have to be careful when you push the
Jesus.
game cartridge in. You want to make sure that it connects.
There was
firmly
5 of them.
all the way
There
in the back,
was
because if it
5 of
doesn't
them,
connect properly, when you turn it
referring to
on,
how
you
many
won't
big
get any.
shows that Jonathan
So you
Coachman
wanna
saw
make
after
sure
that
the game
spear.
cartridge is properly- so when you turn it on, you hear it.
Like, this is the go game because I can spear you while you're down the ground. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Remember, the
That's
images of Virtual Boy are
awesome.
created by your eyes, which combine 2 separately projected LED images from both sides. What we're showing you here is some exclusive footage of some.
I gotta say, chat, I am extremely honored to have the Danhausen on the stream, and I'm even more ecstatic to learn that he enjoys the Forbidden DoR.
Elements of the game's graphics and gameplay. So far,
Very
we've played
nice
Mario's
and
Tennis,
very evil.
Galactic Pinball, Red Alarm.
I will
and
say that
Bolero
what's happening to
Concert.
Jonathan
So stick
Coachman is
around
pretty
and see our ratings
nice and
on all
evil,
these
so.
games and more.
Oh, Chowden.
Nom nom nom. Oh, excuse me, we're back, my dudes.
Game's very nice, and Cedarbo is very evil.
But Ricky Dozan is just very nice when he comes down.
He's
That is true.
That's objectively not true.
What? What?
Isn't
What, are you
Ricky
pissed at-
Dozan kind of? No, wasn't he kind of a not good person? I don't know.
Was he?
I don't know, honestly.
Listen,
If you
all I
haven't
know
read
is that he
anything.
descended down from heaven and he
That's true.
had this face with him.
Oh my god! Holy shit! That's awesome.
That's literally like how he comes down in what was
Wait,
it?
hold on.
All-Star Pro Wrestling?
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
amazing.
And like he fucking like literally descends from the heavens. A spotlight shines on the ring from heaven, like Backlash 2006 style, and he fucking comes down with that face.
And he holds the pose.
And he holds the
onto
pose.
it.
Like he may as well be a statue. So alright, cool. Let's go ahead and continue the game then.
Yippee!
Yippee! Wait, hold on. I need to get the chat back up. Hold on. Alright, now, yippee! Let me fucking do my finish! My god, he's testifying in front of me. That's crazy. Wait. No, that's not my finish.
I'm taking my hands off the controller. Go nuts.
God.
Go nuts.
Oh, the stunner!
I think the default is the stunner.
He's gotta have more than that, right?
Try behind. Try behind.
Ah! Oh, the cross,
Shut the
dude!
Shut the fuck.
Shut the fuck! Little ballerina spin there. We call that the "Oh my brother" justify.
Oh, alright.
Can you like bleed from more than just the face here, or is that
Overtime?
not really a thing?
Ow!
I'm finally getting something in this shit. Wow. This right here is the coach's day. Ah!
Oh shit!
A big pile drive. Wait, no. Ah! And like literally with that, you're back on top. And now I'm about to be humbled. Ah!
Let's see what's my move. Oh, big power bomb.
Oh my god, I literally thought you were gonna like what? No sold the power bomb.
Fuck you.
No sold the power bomb again.
Fuck you. One more time, please.
No sold it a third time. Dude, Jonathan Coachman is ready to get his shit in here. Get back here, you fuck.
Run away! Run
Get
away!
back here, you fuck. I'm gonna do it to the big show. Paul, let me on the big show right now.
I'm a member of the Death Riders. Leave me alone.
Big show. Big show stunner. Hey!
Oh shit. Hey.
Hey.
Alright.
That's who.
No.
Whoa!
Oh my god.
Double spear!
Hold on, you might have figured it out.
No. Make your
Oh, fuck.
The ladder.
I'll let you plug AEW on ESPN if you let me on the show, LMAO.
Hey, how about fuck that?
I'm gonna be honest, I was gonna let you get that. Ow! John Zandig taught the coach how to not sell barbed wire.
They're grapple and rubber together.
He also introduced me to a little man I like to call Jesus.
And go, yeah.
This is my other. Oh, never mind. That's not it.
That's
How do I do the
Edge's,
saving grace.
that's Edge's ill-fated abdominal stretch.
Sorry about that. I thought the top rope neckbreaker was his other move. Penis.
My polyamorous friend.
Hey, it's me. Hey, let me knock him off.
Oh fuck.
Chat, you will never... So, chat, we all know that in OVW in this game, there's Paul's Polycule, and that's who you fight in OVW. You will never guess what music Masked Kane has when he comes out. You will never guess what happens when he comes out. I mean, multiple things happen, but one of them is he also has Polyamorous by Breaking Benjamin as his entrance music. The coach doesn't sell barbed wire for anyone except John's. Ow! I mean, it's different when a whole man is being thrown on top of the coach.
Oh, shit. Oh, Dixon ass.
It all comes with the choke slam.
I am genuinely surprised that no one has tried to pin me, considering I am Jonathan Coachman.
Hey. Ow. Ow.
Dude, everyone's shins are getting fucked in this match. Hey, you!
Hey,
Fuck you! Ah! Copeland! Ah!
Oh, Jesus.
Wow.
You speared me for it. I'm so glad as a board.
Listen, man, we learned that we fucking learned that the spear has a hitbox. Even when you're laying on the ground. I am literally dead right here. What do you mean? Ah!
Fuck. Oh, busted open.
Oh, I don't want to testify on that, brother.
No fair.
No. Oh,
right
shit. The diverticulitis of the penis.
Diverticulitis. Okay, how about this? So how about elevated liver enzymes, brother? Ah!
How about Old Glory? Yeah, let me hit you with the Old Glory elevated liver.
It's the Old Glory elevated liver enzymes. Ah! Dude, I'm just getting nothing here.
Saving grace. Yeah. There we go.
Stunner! Stunner on the coach! Whoa! Oh, my brother! Why won't you sell my offense?
Now, what the hell do you think you're doing?
Like, no one is getting a pin off of them now. Holy shit.
Oh, come on!
Someone here has to be the bone cracker, okay?
I'm the bone cracker.
Someone here has to be the bone cracker. They're the bone cracker.
I'm the bone cracker. I'm the bone cracker. I'm the bone cracker.
Oh!
You piece of shit.
Dude! Devon ate all the shit there. Wow.
I'm eating shit sandwiches for breakfast.
He is.
Kick!
I thought... Dude, I thought that was it there. Wow.
Come on, go ahead. I was happy I got the
B-side. Unite.
Oh, shit!
Eastside.
I didn't know that fucking Devon had Masawa chops in him. Oh my god. I didn't know Hans had Masawa chops.
Dude, Jonathan Coachman will be indisposed now.
Dude, I didn't know Coachman was in on Lee Moriarty's Pure Renaissance. What the fuck? Hold on, let me.
You gotta put the pure title on him, brother.
Help.
Have him face fucking Super Dragon at PWG.
I'm the bone cracker.
Ah! Dick full of barbed wire. We still have like two glass panes out here, I think.
Oh, yes, goodbye. Here we go.
I'm gonna like stay away from you.
What? Hey!
Edge, help me! Help me, Edge! Okay, well, don't help me, I guess. Yeah. Ow!
What the fuck? On the ladder! Die!
Big Show sucks, brother. What can I say?
About that. I ran out of finisher before I could spear you. Oh, hold on. Hey, I have a great idea.
Oh my god.
Wait, hang on. I have a great idea.
I have an even better idea. Roll up. Ah! Oh, no, I can't. Ah! Oh, hey, thanks. I held in place for you, Adam.
Baby.
I got you, brother. No! Hey! Ah!
Oh, my brother!
Oh my brother, I'm not selling that shit.
I didn't know Big Show was Dances with Dudley once.
I know.
Oh shit! What a close.
Whoa!
Bye.
Whoa, you're in the crowd?
Wait, you can go out of the crowd? You can go into the crowd?
No way! How?
I'm stuck.
Holy
I'm
shit,
stuck.
you go-
Oh my god!
Wait, are you stuck? Are you stuck?
I'm stuck. I'm stuck.
You're stuck!
Can you climb out?
Yeah!
Fuck, man.
And the coach wins at WrestleMania? Question mark?
What the fuck?
At the ballpark,
What the
it looks
hell?
like. Wow. Holy shit! The coach wins.
What you even beat me with?
I
Hey, who the
don't.
fuck is that? That's not Shawn
I
Michaels.
don't think I don't even know what I beat you with. Wow. Okay.
That's fucked up, man.
Dude, that was awesome. Okay, so I feel like we gotta try this, right?
It's so cursed.
Yeah.
I love this.
We need to try this, and we need to be the flippiest guys ever. I feel like
Mhm.
the most flippy guys we can find, we play as them. So obviously Ray's in there. I call Ray.
I called Jimmy Wang Yang.
You need to only pick an actual arena. Otherwise, it won't work. I think.
Yeah, you gotta pick a regular arena.
Well, what if I pick Elevation X?
No, that actually is the opposite, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You got to pick like, the actual arenas, not the special ones.
Oh, so don't
Yeah.
pick Elevation X for
Yeah,
Elevation
it gets,
X.
It gets glitched out.
Okay, well
Yeah.
we're all right. Well, where are we going? I feel like we gotta go to the house show.
Hell yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Y'all better have insurance. You think that wrestlers get health insurance? Ha! Who needs unions?
That's the neat thing. You don't.
That's a neat part. We're all in constant pain. Let's see here.
I'm ready to do a flippy move. Overall 27. Coach is 32.
I like Rob Van Dam from ECW.
ECW.
Ray, flip me over. I'm getting
Oh
crispy.
shit, I can also pick Rob Van Dam. That's awesome.
Oh wow.
Whoa.
Wait, can... Whoa, there are two Rey Mysterios?
Booyaka, 6'9". Big Mysterio.
Big Mysterio.
What if I just pick Devon again?
You could. Please.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. Hold on, I want to see who you pick. First off. Because
He doesn't do the
depending on
boss
who you
first?
pick,
Right.
I'm gonna pick something cursed.
I think you have the first pass to move too. You just gotta go to the top rope and press the buttons.
Yeah, it's not his actual finish yet because Eddie's still alive.
'Cause, everyone can have up to 9 finishers in this game.
9.
If I can be serious for a moment.
Dude,
Oh, my.
Lance Storm. Wow.
Yeah.
I
had to pick. I think Lance in the X division would have cooked.
He probably would have. But you know who I think would have
Imagine
cooked even
Lance
more?
Storm and Christopher Daniels.
Masked Kane.
Oh
Wait
my.
a minute.
Hi, Fluffy Sparkster. Welcome on into tonight's Song Club Me.
What the
I owe
fuck?
Rob a lot of money, but he doesn't mind.
Whoops.
Holy fuck!
Oh
What
my
the fuck
god!
did you do?
Oh my god!
Holy shit!
What the fuck is happening?
Dude, what is this Dead by Daylight fucking model here? So what's new with this modded version? Well, you're looking at it, brother. Look at this. Wait, what did he even take off? Whoa! Are we sure this ain't a xenomorph in disguise? A xenomorph is a fantastic way to describe this.
Oh, hell yeah!
Oh yeah, brother!
Go party away.
Come on, bounce!
They're doing the Bentley bounce in the pit for Lance Storm.
Holy shit, dude.
I forgot this is in the not boring era. This is just in the game like this.
I know, like, this isn't part of the mod. That's just how Lance Storm is.
shit.
Yo, Kane, what did you do coming out here like that? That was a real,
Nothing beats a cool, refreshing sip of water.
that was a real coming out moment for you.
Oh my god.
Oh shit, I forgot. I forgot that start just skips all the entrances.
Yeah.
Oh man, who else were we getting?
RVD.
Van
Whoa, you skipped my entrance.
Yeah.
Rob Van Dam. Sorry.
And now
Why you
Kane is
gotta-
normal.
Why the fuck you gotta be the big guy in the in this? You expressly said Flippy Boy match.
I did, and then I wanted to see what Mass Kane was like. So.
How
Man,
do you get up there?
How do you get up there?
Ah! You press the Y button.
Oh, you press the Y button?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then again, you can go forward to get closer.
Wait, how do you get closer?
Just I don't know.
Whoa!
Hello, Mario.
I will be the bone cracker by the time it's all said and done.
It means like just go forward to the belt, like just one direction you are to go to the belt, I think. No,
Wait,
okay,
how do you
no.
fucking... No way, are you gonna win this immediately?
Awesome.
I feel like we could have done better with that.
let's try that again.
Okay, let's see.
One more time.
Okay, how the fuck does this work?
Yeah, how does this work?
Up.
Okay, so I press the button again, and then I keep sliding forward, right?
Yeah.
So what, do we just keep pressing the Y button? Whoa, okay.
Oh, I just keep going. Oh my god.
Whoa, Lance Storm.
Oh, how cool I am. Whoa!
I press Y to drop off again, I think.
I was about to say, I feel like if I press Y, I just drop off again.
Oh, no, I just drop off if I don't press any button. What the fuck?
Oh.
I don't really understand how this works at all.
No, I don't understand it either.
Yeah, I don't really understand the controls of this at all.
I don't know forward, and that's working the same thing. To I just like a move.
What?
You're holding forward?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or yeah, but
That's
I guess from.
I'm holding forward and I just fall down.
No.
Dude, Eddie is moving forward so much that he's leaving this point of existence.
Yeah.
Holding A as well as pressing forward, so maybe that has something to do with it.
Dude,
No, it does not.
Eddie,
Okay.
where the fuck are you going?
That's not it. Nope, that's not it.
Eddie,
I must go. My people need me.
I'm going to TNA essay.
What the fuck, man?
He's gone now to paradise. Eddie's up there in hello.
Well,
Bye.
I guess what Randy
Bye,
said
Eddie.
was correct.
Yep.
Eddie's down there in heck.
Okay, I don't. Oh, it's the right stick. It's the right stick.
Say.
I did not hear that part.
Holy shit. Eddie's down there getting me an ice cream sandwich.
Okay, never mind. It's not. I have no fucking clue.
Okay.
I
Whoa.
legitimately don't know how to do this.
I want to try one more time.
It's-
One where maybe Eddie doesn't vanish into the ether.
I'm sorry, I don't remember like how you move on it.
I just pressed with character movement. I just pressed up on the joystick and I went.
You pressed up
Oh,
on the
up.
joystick?
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's
I thought
try
it
it
was
one more
based
time.
on towards the fucking.
No,
That's-
just up.
That was what I thought too, yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
I love the X Division
Okay, thank
way
you.
more than
Sorry
I
about
love
that.
my dumbass dad. Hey, you!
Oh, oops. Hold on, I figured out the tech.
Oh wait, I got it! Yeah! I'm the exhibition champion.
It's like Lance Archer or some shit.
And this is as bad as when Abyss won the belt. And that was Hogan Ring Abyss.
Who the fuck is Abyss?
Joseph Parks? Clear?
Joseph can park his ass where the sun doesn't shine. Okay, that was very jank.
Yeah, it's not the best.
But you know what I think is gonna be even better / worse / awesome?
What's that?
The triple cage.
Oh
Yeah.
my.
Do we have to play it in a cage match, or can we just...
No, even regular. Yeah, just pick regular.
Okay.
I'm just gonna go back and do it hardcore so we can pin anywhere.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, make sure there's DQs and stuff too.
Make sure there's DQs.
Or no DQ, rather.
Okay.
You had DQs. You had DQ on.
Okay, well, that's not the intention. Wait, pinata time?
Harbor
Dude,
from Hell, hell yeah.
Harbor from Hell,
Oh my god,
yeah.
it's time for the trip to Oblivion.
First, before we sell ourselves into hell with Eddie, we're gonna go to the triple cage. I'm gonna be...
Oh god, what? Who the what?
I'm gonna be the
you
most idealistically confused man of all time. Gold Dust.
Wait, what?
What?
Rhino doesn't have the gore as a finisher?
No, it does. It does.
What?
I wouldn't have like you can have up to 9 finishes. They just don't show all
it's
the.
like, it's like Mania, right. I forgot.
So
like Gold Dust has Shattered Dreams, but it doesn't show up here.
Yeah. So he won't. If you do a finisher while running, he won't do the gore. He will do it. So
cool. Got it. Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna go over again because I.
Also,
Can't
hi
believe
Ashley.
one of us are-
Fancy
believe one of us
seeing
are
you
playing-
here. Welcome on in.
I can't
to
believe any
Summer
of us are
Club.
playing Chris Benoit.
I mean, I think that's Cross Bennett to you, brother. Don't you
Steven
forget
Richards.
it. That's Steven Richards. That right there is... You see, that right there is Butterbean.
That right there's the wall, brother.
That's the wall up there, brother!
There we go.
If you want some, come get some! That's the wall up there, brother!
Hold towards the cage. Or hold the rubber band towards the cage.
I was about to say, we gotta fucking get to the cage, I think.
Maybe, there you go.
Okay, we gotta... Wait, can I climb it right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, great.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. Hold on, I'll show you something.
You're gonna show me something?
Yeah, hold on. I'll prompt it in.
Just suck dick, yeah.
Oh.
I'm trying to climb. Can I not climb right now?
You can take a table up?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
What the fuck?
Okay, whoa!
King of the mountain, baby.
Holy shit, that woke the crowd up big style.
That's me falling off, sorry.
Whoa!
Well, that explains a few things.
I can't believe that Cross Bennett did that. That's crazy. Hey!
I'll drop the table.
I'm trying to climb up to the top of the cage, and it's a little hard.
You just gotta run into it and then hold the button, but not in front of the door.
I'm trying, man. I'm giving it my best shot.
I just did this a minute ago, just fine.
There we go.
Why is this so difficult now?
It's very touchy, it feels like.
Yeah, it's a little funky like that. Whoa.
But it's
Oh, goodbye.
But it's possible. Hey!
Hey.
Hey.
Whoa, Rob Van Dam. There we go. Eat this table. Or don't. Eat my atomic drop instead. No, I would be booing that too. I would be expecting a friggin', Oh boy. No. Ah! Oh, okay,
shit.
never mind. Dude, can someone break this fucking table?
Long ass.
Whoa! Hello!
Oh, Jesus.
Wait, hold on. Is this... Is all of this broken now?
Yeah.
I guess so.
Okay. Hold on.
Oh no.
Whoa!
Oh shit!
Well, I guess this table is now broken. So...
Backdrop driver!
Ugh, dude, can you backdrop driver someone through this
shit.
table, please? Ah!
That sounds like a great idea, actually.
I will say that RPT's stance here is a very oos type beat. So, oos.
He feels like he's actually in a fighting game.
No, I know.
Hold on, take the souffle.
Take the souffle. My polyamor is...
Yeah, mother.
Whoa! Hello!
Oh shit! All right, hold on.
Dude, everything here is such jank. Hey!
Oh fuck! Oh shit! I gotta lock in. Oh, sorry about that.
Oh, hello. Damn.
Sorry about that.
Meanwhile, Cross Bennett and goddamn whoa! Okay, hold on.
What the fuck? This is so jank. I love it. Oh, goodbye. Apparently. This is so cursed.
and you know the best part? We don't get any damage from jumping that high. I think it's like we can just like fling ourselves around like that with no consequence.
You gotta be fucking kidding me.
Hello,
You
Mario.
took the damage and I somehow fell 30 feet above you.
You fell like 30 feet, but you're completely fine.
No.
No.
Yeah.
Oh! Hi, Devin. How you doing? Welcome on in. We just keep interrupting each other's shit. It's great.
No.
I'm calling out from the inside.
Chad, I've got a plan. Oh shit! Well, there goes the plan.
I've seen this band in concert.
I saw them in concert, like, when I was 16, I think. And they were doing, like, an acoustic set.
That rules.
That fucking was awesome. I loved that. That was in, like, a small, like, theater in, like, Kokomo. Sorry.
I want... No. Oh,
not Kokomo in Kalamazoo. And that was really fun. Kokomo as in, like, Kokomo, Indiana.
I need...
Not the one that the Beach Boys sung about, but more like Indiana, which is much less tropical. You know what? Fuck it. Can I please be a spot monkey? I would like that.
Do you want a spot monkey?
I want to be a spot monkey, dude.
Okay. Oh no.
Ow.
The engine for this is awesome because at once it's allergic to letting you do cool shit, but also it's like the most possible to do. Whoa! Like that!
Shit.
It's also the most possible to do cool shit.
Your fucking spine, dude.
What the fuck am I doing down there? What the? Y'all just see that shit?
Dude, I'm like contorting back here. Whoa! Whoa, dude, my tailbone is in 20 pieces.
I have an idea. Hang on, gang. I got an idea.
Okay, what's the idea?
Hold on, let me see if this...
Whoa, hello!
I broke the door, so now we can fit more weapons in.
Whoa! No way! Get fucked! 1, 2... I was about to say, after a spot like that, you should get the goddamn W.
Fuck you! Yeah, motherfucker! Oh, damn it.
I'm Jerry Lynn.
Jerry fucking Lynn.
Jerry fucking Lynn. Whoa, dude, is
God,
Jerry Lynn in this game? I want to work with him.
Broke your fucking kidneys? That's crazy.
Oh my god, the cage is causing my GameCube to stutter.
I heard that.
Oh shit, glass panes.
Oh fuck.
My fucking drop toe, dude. My fucking drop toe was like fucking. It was so epic that I laid myself out too. What? What are you doing?
Oh, damn.
Oh, fuck.
Got a great idea. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. I'm cooking.
Okay, hit me with the great idea.
I need someone to be down.
You want me to come up? Okay.
Oh, I need someone to be like just on the ground down there.
Oh, you want someone like on the first level?
Just lying down, yeah.
Okay. Well, if I could, I would fall down, but I can't do it.
Hold on.
Whoa!
Oh shit! Well, that works. Die!
Okay, you know what? Fuck you.
Oh shit! No!
Whoa!
WrestleMania!
Is that the cage from Ready to Rumble? The one and only, brother.
Dude, just help me! Fluffy, I don't know what's happening anymore.
One,
Rob!
two. Okay, how about this? Okay, I'm sorry about that. Here, I'll go ahead and pin goddamn. 1, 2. What the hell is even going on anymore? A lot of things happening at once. A lot of broken ribs and CTE happening in this ring right now, and all of it is happening to Goldust.
Referees down.
Bombs away. Aw.
This crowd is so fucking loud, dude.
I need this crowd to shut the fuck up.
I might just turn them down. I'm on God.
Honestly, if you could turn me down a little bit, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll go in the settings and turn it down.
Just a couple points.
Just a couple of squares. Quieter. Yeah, I'll turn it down once we get out of this match.
What the fuck?
What was that?
Oh my god.
They just gored me.
Sorry.
Oh, pissed.
Whoa!
Holy shit.
I'm so happy about that.
No! No! Ah!
I'm coming after you! Oh, a knee drop right to the face! Why did you immediately get up after that?
Woo!
No.
Oh shit!
Be my curtain call, you bitch!
Curtain call! L plus ratio plus curtain call. What the fuck? Are you kidding me?
That would have been awesome. Wow. Another one. No way! No, get out of there.
I didn't even get to hit the core on anybody. I didn't even get my finisher.
Yeah, well, RD's like, whoa, dude, I hit the gore for you.
Oh, man.
I hit the gore for you, dude. Okay, cool. All I can hear is just the thwomp noise from Mario as you all fall down.
That's a... Wait a minute. Come on.
Okay, so, I feel like that we need to run a couple more matches here, and we also need to do a rumble, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. We gotta do these funky little setups.
Seriously, we need to we need to run these unique venues. This right here is where
They made Mania 19 revenge modes.
Say, I'm just going to tell you the parking lot for some reason.
What was that, Teddy?
What?
The parking lots is for one reason, and you'll see when we get into that arena.
Okay. Parking lot. Let's do it.
Relax.
That was no DQ, right?
So yeah, yeah.
Cool. The thwomp noise. Well, when I think of the thwomp noise, you know what I think of? Bill Goldberg. Let's do it.
When I think of the Thwomp, I think of Rikishi's ass.
I think of Rikishi's ass coming down on Bill Goldberg's face. So what do I have? I've got the jackhammer and maybe the spear as well.
Oh boy.
I need the worst possible things to happen to Rossio Gawa. Fucking goddamn it! Another hummingbird loss. I'm going to fucking scream.
Dang.
How do you fuck a clown?
It's break time.
White
Where the
boy.
hell is the Cheetos, my dudes?
Boy!
Oh wait, hold
It's
on.
my ass.
White boy eats my ass.
Oh, the entrances. Oh, the entrances
It's
are
no
off.
big
Hold
surprise
on, we gotta run the,
that IDOS is moving up
sorry.
the video game food chain, considering last year's mega hit
Go
Tomb
pee.
Raider. The sequel uses the same formula to great success, with minor control changes for sidestepping, and of course, all new worlds and vehicles. The game starts off with a peek at ancient China. A dragon attacks the Great Wall, and a soldier notices a dagger embedded in
Notably,
his chest.
there are only white
Oddly,
guys in the
removing
Smash.
the dagger results in the dragon's death. Weird.
And Bill Goldberg
You
is gonna
play
destroy
Lara
all of
Croft,
them.
complete with front-loaded anvils, searching for the dagger centuries later. Your path to the dagger will take you just about everywhere, and that snow speeder kicks a major you-know-what. Tomb Raider has slightly more action than exploration this time around, but you may not notice the difference. This is good, because that way everybody's happy. Obviously, we're giving Tomb Raider 2 a good review. We fully expected to do so. We knew the game would be great, and it is. And we've only just scratched the
I've been
surface.
having a lot of fun
In
with
answer
this
to
chat.
Lara's giant
This has
earrings,
been
however, we have a challenge
very
to IDOS.
chaotic and
In
very
Tomb Raider
stupid.
3, create a storyline in which Lara gets breast cancer. Imagine the drama.
I really
of a
hope that
vulnerable Lara
I really
Croft
hope that
still persisting in her worldly
Bill
adventures despite
Goldust
her illness.
is getting
It
that
needs fleshing
goddamn
out, no pun intended, but we
top of the
guarantee
line
gaming
local
world will be
medical
shocked,
facility care
stunned, and moved at the effort to make Lara's
after that
character
last
more
match because that was
we love Lara, but it's about time
that
the
was
industry
tough.
had a big shock for a change.
That was
It's no
dog
shock
rough
that
for
Tomb
him.
Raider 2 is excellent. Everyone should buy it. Period. The end.
The end.
Would you buy it, Teddy?
By what?
Tomb Raider 2.
I never played the original Tomb Raiders. I haven't played the new one, like the first and second new one.
Oh, like the remakes, or rather the reboots.
Yeah. Yes.
My girlfriend really likes Tomb Raider. I've never played any of them.
Nice.
Nice.
I have not played them. I played a Tomb Raider like game, a la, like Uncharted, but not necessarily for me, unfortunately.
Om nom nom. Oh, excuse me, we're back, my dudes.
Welcome back to Raw. Is Siren still in the restroom? I think that's a yes.
Yeah, it looks like it, yeah.
Yeah, this has been very fun so far, and I am
agree.
very hot and strangely
It's so much fun, yeah.
I am strangely sleepy and I'm strangely sleepy and strangely sweaty right now. It's truly a wrestling game only for the sweatiest of wrestling gamers.
AP,
Yep.
what?
AKY.
I say I need a nap. I need someone to tuck me in.
I
Good
need
night,
someone-
food. What?
Baby, want a bottle? What?
What?
I need a little drink. And I don't
You-
need beer. I need my mother's milk.
I need my milk. Loser, you're a loser. What?
What?
You feel sorry for yourself? Well, you should, because you are dirt. What? Baby, want a bottle? What?
It's my purse. I don't know you.
I don't know you. What? Go home and play some boggle. What?
Get yourself a little higher taste when it comes to board games, maybe.
What?
Peggle Deluxe, son.
All right, all right, I'm back. Hi, how's it going?
Okay, cool. All right, let's make this work.
Ooh, why am I not moving?
Why are you not moving? I'm just getting a free shot on you.
White boy!
White boy, I'm coming for you!
Oh, is Rodney Mack in this game?
I don't think so. He's in the DOR2 mods, but not in this one.
Oh, there's DOR2 mods?
Yeah, there's a roster expansion mod. Where everyone has an entrance in that, I think.
Yes, they do.
So wait, hold on.
Are
There like special environmental attacks here?
Yeah, I'd say.
What, dude? How is Cena already in?
You just got hit by a car.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, chat. Chat, did he get hit by a car?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, there was a car.
Whoa!
See,
Whoa!
An inside out spot.
Holy shit!
Goldberg, no! Goldberg, no! Goldberg!
White boy!
Out of the road!
White boy! Ow!
I am whoever's Sean.
Dude, I'm right in the middle of the road too. I'm
Whoever's Sean,
fucked.
can you please pick us up? We're actually getting car cheesed.
I'm actually fucked, dude. Ah!
Oh boy.
I'm gonna. Bill, we're gonna get you out of there, Bill.
I saw a white boy and I needed to kill him.
Hey, I'm trying to save you, motherfucker. You doomed us all, Bill. You doomed us all.
You blew it up. No, John Cena! John Cena has his AirPods in. He can't hear us. Holy shit! Ah!
Sean, let's go upstairs.
It's a good thing that wrestling's fake, guys.
The worst part was,
You think this
I don't think the driver was a white
shit.
boy.
Oh fuck, pile driver.
So
on
my
the
efforts
stairs.
were in vain. Please tell me I could toss you off the stairs.
Hey, how about
shit.
that you don't fucking do that?
Dude, Holly chants. Hardcore Holly chants.
Hell yeah. No, stop that.
People love rooting for guys that got run over by a car.
I mean, to be fair, it does. Being ran over by a car does inspire a lot of sympathy. I will say that.
No, Teddy, no.
Don't worry, you can get up. Don't worry. You can get up. Don't you worry.
I knew your trick.
It feels like that these crowd noises are not quieter. I'm gonna be honest with you.
There he goes.
I'm gonna spear you down the fucking
man.
stairs, Holly.
I was trying to do it my running drop kick and you could spear me. I'm fucking so tired of this game already.
Are you actually?
No, I'm just being silly about that.
Okay,
stupid
cool.
spear.
Hey! I was doing my moves!
You can't see me.
No, that bit was just for the spearing someone while they're down. Jeez.
Fucking depth perception! Ah!
Beep, beep. Holy shit, I can finally stand up. Oh.
This crowd is driving me up a fucking wall. I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. What has Holly done in this match, crowd? What's he done? Whoa!
They're just really big Holly marks.
The fucking people out here in this parking lot.
They're not talking about hardcore Holly. They're talking about Crash Holly.
They're over there thinking it's Crash Holly.
No,
No, you know what? I figured it out.
Cena, go hell.
No.
Ah!
Go to hell.
Holy shit. Wow. Oh no! No!
Eat shit, Bill.
It can only get worse from here.
Sean, I think you can respect two long-standing new generation talent.
Fuck.
Stand out for each other.
Ow!
Hold my neck.
Ow!
Fuck.
Well, goddamn, I guess my neck's just gone. Oh shit, super Garrett!
I'll tell you what, that doesn't spark his plug at all. Whoa!
That's also true. Damn, right to the back of the head.
I was about to say, are you gonna like super kick him off the? Whoa!
Ow.
There's so much, dude. Dude, there's so much roadkill in this match. It makes no sense. It's crazy.
So much roadkill in this match. You think it'd be ECW?
Yeah, this was the gimmick of this one was throwing people into the fucking car.
Dude, I can't fucking do anything. Me and Cena are just stuck down here.
Alright, I'm gonna try to save
God damn, as soon as I get up, too.
Alright, let's go save him. White boys!
White boys assemble.
Thank you, Sean.
Oh, let me. No,
You know what? Fuck you.
At the same time, Bill, you've doomed us both again.
Go, white boys, go.
I'm trying to free you.
Stop!
John.
Fuck Hardcore Holly.
What do you? Why you say fuck me for?
because you're Hardcore Holly.
I'm fucking. Oh my god.
Gorilla press on the concrete, concrete, baby.
That's concrete,
baby. That really is. Wow.
Oh no.
Jackhammer! 1, 2, 3.
All right.
If I keep pinning the same person over and over again, I'm sorry, it's not targeted. I literally am just going after whoever. That was very fucking nonsensical. I love that a lot.
Oh yeah, these are so fucking insane.
Yeah.
Lead me to
That's probably the most unhinged of them, I think. Just there's a stage hazard.
There's the stage hazard. It's like Smash Brothers, dude. Well, what about Harbor from Hell?
Yes. Yes.
I'll tell you what he's gonna do. Beat everybody. Then he wins the fucking belt.
That's what I'm saying, brother.
And
I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm beat everybody.
And then I'm gonna win the belt. And that's on dicks, brother.
I think that's a great idea, Shud.
Now we're gonna pair you with Rakishi, son.
I'm gonna pair you with Rakishi.
Every time Art Jindrak comes up, I feel obligated to tell this. I have an entire box of just Asuka cards. I primarily collect her.
Okay.
I bought one off him once.
You bought a card off of Mark Jindrak?
Yeah, because he has an eBay store.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's like awesome in the sense of, oh shit, he has an eBay store, but also it's
yeah,
like,
you can buy shit from Mark Jindrak.
you can just buy shit from him and it's okay. Like, you don't need to feel anything. Like, you don't need to feel anything about it. It's just,
there we go.
That's how it is.
Yeah.
I will never forget it because, like, the reason I remember Mark Jindrak is because someone mentioned in chat a while ago that when he was done with wrestling, he became like a soap opera star, but specifically a Spanish soap opera star. So I'm over here being like, what? Spanish soap opera, Mark Jindrak? Okay.
That was me, I'm pretty sure.
Wait, that was you, Teddy?
I'm pretty sure it was me that told you about it.
You know what? It probably was you. That sounds like something you would fucking show me. I love that.
No.
Keep the headlock going, kid.
There is exactly one scene on YouTube of Mark Jindrak in a Spanish-speaking soap opera, and everyone should check it out. Eder, put it in now. Jada, play it now. Wow, that was fucking awesome. I can't believe that Mark Jindrak gave a sloppy wet kiss to that one actress. That's crazy.
And that actress, you guessed it, Frank Stallone.
That's awesome.
I should have said Frankie Kazarian, but that was fun.
The actor, you guessed it, Jim Ross's ass. Boom, boom.
Boom.
Alright, who is who this time?
I'm Rakishi.
I'm Steve Austin.
I'm Mark Jindrak.
I'm Margin. You're
Legend of the Ruthless Aggression era.
you're Margindrak, son.
Now, hang on, I've got a plan here. You leave me alone a little bit.
Whoa!
Oh, fuck.
Goodbye. Well,
Ah, my back.
I think I've been hoisted by my own Picard.
What? Eliminated?
I've been eliminated.
Oh my god, what it... Dude, what is with the screen?
I'll fix this up, man. Don't worry. I'll fix this up. There it goes.
Yeah. Alright, cool. I guess I'm out.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize that you would be eliminated.
No, I forgot about that. That's cool.
I
That's
didn't.
awesome.
I didn't know that that was
No,
a
that's
thing that
sick
could
as fuck.
happen.
No, that's not. That's it. You live by the bit, dive by the bit.
I was about to say,
awesome.
who's like moving my mouse right now?
I
Not me.
don't know. Not me.
I was moving my own mouse.
I feel like after that, I need to go into the ring and do something here.
Oh, sorry, that one wasn't me. I was trying to move my mouse off the screen.
You gotta take a breather.
You look fly today. Come on, can I get anything else with this dance, or is it just like hands up? What the fuck?
Oh,
What the hell was that?
the vertical leap of Mark Jindrak is crazy.
And that's why he was such a big soap star.
You get him in the fucking combine.
White boys.
And Big Dick Fatu.
Yeah. Oh.
They should have called him Big Dick Fatu.
That Ritsu, that's what you should have named him in your save.
That's for true.
You should have named him that in your
actually
TEW
called him
save.
Stev. Yeah, I think
What?
they should actually call him.
What?
Derek.
Derek. I still don't. Ow! My fucking.
I don't get it either, man.
My fucking knees. Wait, you can climb up that? Whoa!
Oh yeah.
Holy shit!
There's another secret area up here.
A secret area.
So for those that don't watch my stream, my friend Daddy on my stream last Wednesday decided to call me Derek, and then everyone else started doing the bit. So apparently,
You are now Derek.
Sometimes I'm Derek.
See, when I think of Derek, I
Super
think of
Derek
stop
show.
skeletons from fighting. But
Yes.
Hey, it's me, Derek. It's me.
I'm the bone cracker. I'm the bone cracker.
Hey, it's me, Derek.
I'm the bone cracker. I'm the bone cracker. I'm the bone
So
cracker.
you press, aim something, press Y to do the jump.
You have to face towards the thing, otherwise you're gonna just eat shit.
you got to be based in order to get
Y
off.
And, yeah, there you go. There you go.
Wow.
It's last
These-
Otherwise,
I was
otherwise you're just gonna fall off and eat shit.
Yeah, I was
So-
gonna say this guy Mania 19s.
You know what's funny?
Dude, this shit
I've
is
never-
actually
I've never
like
played
kind of
Mania 19.
petrifying.
Mania 19's really cursed and really fun. Now
Yeah.
this gamers, I'm gonna be real with y'all. If any of you fall off, you're eliminated.
Yeah.
I was about to say from like any angle.
I'm the gatekeeper.
Yeah, outside of like right at that.
You're the
corner that you came
gatekeeper.
up
You're
on,
the
yeah.
gatekeeper.
Can you open that like it's a weapons closet or no?
Let's
No,
see.
I don't think. I don't think there's any.
I'm trying not to like. I'm trying.
No, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
aw,
no,
that's
there's
shit.
nothing there at all. I don't
but
think
two.
you can whip into the door.
Oh no.
What is my finisher if we're standing up here?
Kishi driver.
No, no.
Rikishi driver! Whoa! Holy shit! Tandem offense.
Give a little bit of flavor.
You add some spice to it. Wow.
A little bit of mustard.
Oh my god.
I'm the boat cracker.
I forgot about that part.
Boat cracker. I'm the motherfucking boat cracker.
I'm definitely a cracker, all right.
Everyone here is except for Big Dick Fatu. They're all part of the what? What the fuck? What happened there?
I wish I could tell you what happened there.
Dude, Rikishi saw that he wasn't part of the White Boy Challenge and he just left.
He's like, I didn't know this was a white boy function.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize I wasn't meant to be in this function. I'm out. And then he just like vanished. God, if you pinned him up there, that would have been so funny. like these fucking like crazy eliminations, and what happens to end the match? Regular pinfall.
Pin.
Walk off.
That would be fucking awesome.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm scared if you perform the RKO and then you just fall off yourself.
Oh my god!
Whoa! No! Nope, you're good! You're good!
Yeah, I don't think it'll do that for this move.
I can't even tell.
What the fuck's Jindrak's move look like?
What is Mark Jindrak's move?
I'm not sure. It'd be nice if I could do anything.
Oh, there it is.
He's beating
What's
my
the
ass.
Reflection of perfection.
It's it's the
erection of
Colossus.
perfection. Oh, it's the fucking Protoplex. It's the,
Okay.
It's Roman's FCW finish.
Mark, it was nice knowing you.
It's like a backwards rock bottom.
Mark. Any last words, Mark?
Headlock is my last word. You see, this right here is where Randy started getting ideas.
Now, this right here is what you call domination.
It's a combination of skill and concentration, I hear.
It's a rise to the occasion.
Do something amazing,
Oh, shit.
because everything that I do, I'm throwing Mark Jindrak off the fucking scaffold.
I didn't know that he did that fucking Canadian backbreaker, neckbreaker this early in his career.
I did not know either.
Yeah. I don't remember him ever doing that outside of like 2012.
I'm rooting for Mark Jindrak.
Me, Garrison Cade every day.
Garrison who?
Garrison Cade. And it's Cade's other name.
No.
They were a tag team around this era. That's why they're both in the game.
Dude, if you come out with like Garrison Cade, you'll get a good idea of that too, because both him and Mark are like one of the only people in this game, or like one of the only teams that have matching gear.
That's awesome.
Both them and the Basham brothers, the fucking God Killer Basham brothers, have have matching gear. Oh no, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get what I want.
The erection of perfection.
The perfection erection. Wow. No, he reversed that shit.
Block it!
Oh, fuck. Oh, shit.
It over. Biggest move in the business. My god!
What a great RKO animation.
I know.
It's right good.
Great.
What the hell?
It's like one of the better ones.
Jawbreaker.
I'm slightly upset that you can't just RKO yourself off the structure here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sad that Randy can't just like jump off of it and then that's it.
RKO number 15.
You gotta get more.
And at this point, Jindrak has like a fucking axe to grind with Randy because he just keeps hitting his shit.
That should have been my spot in Evolution, not Dave's. I probably wouldn't have won.
One time.
This is like the 17th time.
Yeah, this is like in one of the SVRs where you just keep ankle locking someone forever and ever.
Yeah.
Or also a Dave Reckoning, I forget which one.
This is like playing as Snitsky in the Ultimate Submission. Whoa! POV, you're playing as Snitsky against Kurt Angle. Goldberg?
What the hell is Goldberg doing here?
Bill Goldberg!
What Rey Mysterio is cooking?
I wanted Mark Jindrak to win that match.
This is bullshit if I have seen it.
This right here sucks my ass.
This is fucking ridiculous.
Okay. So I want to see what else we have here. If anything. We got Triple Cage, Warehouse.
Oh, sorry.
Anchor. For me, these are just kind of bonus standard arenas, I feel like.
Basically.
Yeah.
So.
But of course, the SmackDown arena has you can climb to the fists and the SmackDown arena.
You can. So I think that what we need to do, right? We need to. Well, first off, I want to make sure. Wait, Iron Man match Fatal 4-Way?
Yeah,
Sounds
we can do that.
That sounds awesome. Let's do it.
How long are we going?
15 or 20, maybe.
We'll do 15 minutes. DQs are off! Let's go.
That's what I'm talking
All right.
about.
I'm going to dive off that SmackDown fist so much you have no clue. As my goat.
Oh.
Ah!
I can't. Hold on. Oh, sorry. My mouse. The mouse was for some reason over there.
Also gonna run an ad before we run this match, just so we're not interrupted. I got my guy. Why am I so dumb?
Wait, okay, that's the FU. That's cool.
That's sick, wow. Brother. Wait, I'm sorry, Protoplex on Kane?
That can't be right.
There's just glitched
Okay.
by the mods.
Yeah!
Alright, before we fucking do
Oh
this,
yeah. Do you want to?
I want to run the ad first, but I want to see if everyone gets an entrance here.
Yes.
Who's that?
Who?
Who the fuck is that?
Here we go.
There's no crowd sound now. the arena's so respectful of Rey Mysterio.
Now, are y'all doing 619 solo?
Oh shit, it's Mystico. Fuck! I forgot, dude, I forgot again that start is skipping everyone's entrance. Okay, can I like back out and try that again? Because I want to see if they put Stone Cold's entrance in here. Or like whoever you pick. Yeah, Stone Cold. I want to see if they put Stone Cold and Scotty Steiner's entrance in here.
Oh shit, it's Mystico.
Yeah, right there on the screen right now. That's Sin Caras. You know we can't stop.
Me when I'm pooping.
Me after I eat the fucking Crunchwrap Supreme 5-way style.
Who's fucking? Never mind.
Let's see who's like moving my mouse right now. All right, where's Raymond?
Rey Mysterio.
Where's Raymond? Right there. It's Mystico. Hogan said, well, don't you fucking... No. No, Birdie.
Yeah, that's a...
Get out of here.
I'm getting the hammer. That's it. I'm getting me mallet.
I'm getting them out. Oh, shit, brother.
Oh, hell, yeah.
Oh, hell. I'm real slow right now.
I got the knee braces.
My knees don't work as good as they used to.
Raising hell at a leisurely at a leisurely pace. What?
He's walking.
He's walking.
I'm walking here.
It's
Let me go get a bacon, egg, and cheese.
It's all right, Patootie. Don't worry.
Let me get a bacon, egg, and cheese the Aki way. Right?
I want to rub Steve Austin's head. How would that feel? I mean, it would just kind of feel like a bald person, right?
You know, I really appreciate that you wouldn't do that. That would make me very uncomfortable.
that boy's smooth as hell.
That's my socially awkward Steve Austin.
My socially awkward Steve Austin.
Well, you know, I'm not really good in crowded places anymore. And if it's without the arena, I'm not really good in crowded places.
When I go into the public restroom, I need everyone to be out of the room so I can go. What?
Holler!
Holla! Oh shit!
That's what I'm fucking. Oh, his hands are fat.
It's fat.
My fingers are fucking up right now.
I love music to do push-ups too. God, he looks like a fucking Stretch Armstrong.
Why do I got tiny hands? Steve, you see these nubs? Why, yes, I do, son. You want me to play the guitar? I can't play the guitar.
I just beat people up. I got free 8 days of the week.
8 days of the week. Don't you talk during the backswing.
There's only 7 days of the week, Scott. Man, I'm a big bad booty daddy.
English.
Dude, his
puts foot on bottom rope.
Imagine him trying to eat a burger. Dude, he is the burger right now. Look at him.
Bro's on that 30 chicken breast, 2 asparagus diet.
A day.
He's eating Tremboloni saying, "Oh, hell yeah, baby." Oh, this gear sucks.
I heard.
Not great.
I heard you out here saying something about hamburgers.
Free hamburger, Daily Mirror.
There's one guy that loves to ham his burger. It's Kurt Angle.
Exactly, with his tiny cowboy hat. Yeah, like, I mean, the intro didn't repeat 3 times, so like we know that this isn't really like Angle at his peak.
Why is Kurt Angle waddling into the ring like he's got to take a dookie?
because he's socially awkward and he can't poop in a public area. The whole thing would flop over. He has to like eat it like open face.
He is cheeked up. That is lore accurate, Kurt Angle.
Yes. Now I don't like to use this language, but I've gotta poop. Oh, it's true.
It's damn.
All right, we're gonna run the ad and then we're gonna run this fucking match.
So much,
He said, "Smell my pits, crowd." Much like how, you know, Christian tells the crowd to smell his finger. Anyways, ad time. I'm gonna go and pee real fast.
It's break time. Where the heck's the Cheetos, my dudes?
Rolls on after this.
The first Super
Oh
Nintendo game
fuck,
ever
we
from
got
Disney
the long
Interactive
one.
is Toy Story. When you pop in this game, the first thing you notice is the poor
This is
edgelord
7
Woody,
minutes.
the main
I'm not
character
gonna
of
let
the
this
movie
run the
and
whole
character
time.
you control in the game. The Toy Story movie was done.
I'm just gonna
with
let it
Silicon
run for
Graphics
however long it
computers,
takes
and
me
the
to pee.
instruction booklet says the game's graphics were created with the same 3D computer models that were used in the making of the blockbuster movie. We don't know, however, if the game actually used Silicon Graphics computers. If SGI computers were involved, we suspect they were only used for character animation, because the backgrounds do not have the detailed quality graphics of Donkey Kong Country. As any good devoted game player knows, Donkey Kong Country was created with Silicon Graphics computers and doesn't have edging problems. What's even more strange is that Woody is the only character with edging problems. All the other characters look great. The game's packaging box advertises an intensely 3D experience, but that statement is a bit misleading because the gameplay, although varied, is often two-dimensional. One question still remains. Why didn't Disney Interactive use Silicon Graphics computers for the entire game? Were they too expensive? I don't think so. Come on, Big Disney is one of the richest corporations in the country. Let's get real here. The only explanation we can think of is that Disney Interactive did not use SGI computers because the graphics could not be handled by the Genesis for the Genesis version. Maybe that's why the game has nowhere near as many colors and detailed graphics as Donkey Kong.
We're missing out on Megaton versus Kuroshio Tokyo.
Because Disney would have to be
Oh, no.
to pass up the chance of creating another Donkey Kong Country. Besides, the Genesis version and the Super NES version don't have to be exactly the same, so what's the big deal? Disney certainly has the money.
I'm sure, of course, you got like a 75 for his entrance, I'm sure.
Another thing that confuses us is Disney's marketing strategy. Since Pocahontas appeared in the theaters before Toy Story, why did the Toy Story video game come out before the Pocahontas game? Perhaps the Pocahontas game is being saved until the movie is released on video for some sort of joint marketing strategy. The last negative thing we have to say about this game is about the play control. In the third level, players will start foaming at the mouth when they can't jump up to the rope at the top of the screen. No matter how fancy you get in trying to bounce off the ball and up to the rope, you will most likely not reach the darn thing. This kind of play control flaw is inexcusable, since Disney should have noticed it and fixed it. Realistically, you could end up trying 20 times to get Woody to grasp that stupid rope before you actually
Om nom
get it.
nom. Oh, excuse me, we're back, my dudes.
You may want to slam Doom into your Super NES and take out your anger by shooting a bunch of evil aliens. Then again, Doom is an extremely difficult game, so it might just make the problem worse. You might think we come down hard on Toy Story. Well, we admit we have. It's a shame, though, that the outstanding gameplay quality resulting from the developers' hard work is masked by the impossibly high challenge level. Toy Story is too difficult, like The Lion King. Fortunately for you, though, we've discovered two awesome
Holy
ways
fuck,
to
this is
beat
still
Toy
going?
Story.
Hold on.
In the first level, bounce off the first beach ball you see and land on the bottom drawer of the dresser on the right.
George Wood, I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. I am this close to replacing you with Floam ads. Get out of here. Hold on.
Get out of our company.
Get out of my company! Wait. Hold on. I need to make it so that the stream is shown again.
Oh. Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Mario.
Hello, Mario.
He said, Mike, he said, smell my pits, crowd. I may need to click away from this in a couple minutes, but...
What's up?
I said I may need to click away from this in a couple minutes, so...
Oh?
Because what's gonna happen is that the timer is gonna show the video again, and I'm gonna need to fucking, fix it.
Oh, goodbye.
Rather, it's gonna show the video, yeah. Hold on.
There I go.
Hey, I'm sorry, I'm getting my cardio in.
I am going to this fist
Scott
right now.
Steiner does not do cardio. All right, let's
It's an alternate universe.
let's skip the formalities. Let's
What
get fisted.
chains?
What the fuck are those chains up there for?
That's a good question.
You guys don't remember the iconic SmackDown chains?
I can't say I do. What?
Oh my god, wait, what?
Huh?
Stage from
It's the
when
Mania 19 thing, yeah.
yeah.
I was about to say, these are Mania 19 assets.
How do I climb up?
Ray is down at...
Can you, like, jump for them?
Yeah, you usually hold right, yeah, and then there you go. Hold right and press Y when you get to the top.
I should just, sorry. Yeah, chill. I gotta chill. Sorry. No.
Oh.
All
Okay.
my friends aren't here. I want milk.
Ow.
no.
Gosh.
I want
That's what I'm
milk
talking about.
and cookies. Right now.
I want the main event Mafia on the fist.
Get me Sting right now.
There you
Where's
go.
Kevin Nash? Where's my boy Kevin Nash?
How the
You
fuck?
hold right. You hold right,
Jump
press Y.
You gotta press Y. Press Y.
Okay.
There you go.
I need to make this jump. I'm Rey Mysterio. I have to make this fucking jump.
Whee!
Oh.
What the?
Lucky Toe Stone Cold.
I'm just gonna aura farm as Kurt Angle while y'all.
You're gonna aura
up here.
farm. Can I jump for these?
You should be able to.
This feels like something I should be able to jump for.
Usually someone needs to be down there. Uh-oh. Moonsault!
Ah! Oh my god, you know what? This is perk angle. Now.
There we go.
I just popped a bean and I'm on a helicopter.
Sting isn't coming to the fist, but Steve Borden is coming to the fist.
Steve Borden.
Well, what about Steve N. Borden? I hear
More
I hear that he's
Steves
coming
are-
along. He's out here doing
more
shit.
More Steves are coming.
Twerk
doing
angle.
push-ups. I'm getting fit.
So wait, do I need to climb up from the left? It looks like.
Yes, it is only that way.
Aw,
I remember this.
You know, an angle slam up here would be fucking crazy.
it really would.
I have a great idea.
Okay.
All right, how about this?
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, Lord. Oh, dude, you can pull down the straps? That's
Yeah, when you hit
crazy.
your finish. Steiner screwdriver, please. No, what the fuck?
Oh, big slam!
Whoa! Wait, hold on. The chat literally missed it right there. God damn it. Wait, hold on.
Olympic slam!
Sorry. There we go.
Olympic slam!
I'm getting fucked up here.
On my jaw.
You know what? Get out of my fucking fist. Get off my fist. Whoa.
Oh.
Ah! No. No. Everything's falling apart.
I'm sure. Ah, fuck.
Scott breaks his wrist every time he does a push-up. It's because of his, like, little baby fingers.
He's got his little sausages for fingers.
We call them the little piggies. What? The 10 little piggies. What?
What?
We call them Tinky Winky, La Deep Sea. What?
Oh, Teletubbies. Oh, fuck me. Oh, shit. Dicks and ass.
Ah! Hey, man, what did I do?
Nah, fuck.
I got surgery 5 times on my left ball sack.
On my left ball. Oh, shit.
No. Stop it. Stop. Stop that, son.
Stop that shit. You need to stop that shit right now.
Ow. Man tries opening a door and his whole hand comes off.
Oh, no.
Olympic slam!
Oh, yeah! Hey! Dude, Olympic slam onto Steve Austin, onto Rey Mysterio. That's crazy. Ah!
Push-ups.
I thought you were about to throw me off the fist.
I hope it throws. I wish it could throw you off the fist.
Oh,
Dude!
Probably for the best.
that animation's crazy.
That animation's awesome. Goodbye.
Oh,
So who the fuck is Scott Steiner right now?
me.
Okay.
It's me.
Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck.
Hey, man.
I feel like I'm being targeted here, man.
I'm trying to be.
Sorry,
I'm
you're
trying
just
to.
tiny.
I'm trying to do my.
I am
push-ups.
pretty tiny, yeah.
I just want to
So help
Olympic
me
slam
God.
someone off the fist. That's all I want.
I'm
I want to hit
very,
another. I want to hit another moonsault. Off
I'm
the fist.
very Olympic slammable. Here.
Yeah, I'll let you hit the thing. I'll let you do your thing.
Russian leg sweep time, brother.
Richard.
Oh, what?
Fine.
Okay, cool.
You fell down the back, right?
Yeah, cool. Go ahead to the
That
moonsault.
is actually a real thing.
Do the moonsault.
Woo!
That's not the moonsault.
Well, you have to be dead. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, goodbye.
X Factor. Yo, you're dealing with the X Factor. I got everything I ever wanted. Now I'm gonna get it back.
Well, I know
Oh.
you. Ah, fuck.
Roll up. There's no pinfalls out here. It's not false count anywhere. We're spending an Iron Man match where we can't get falls.
Ref, why are you out here if you're not gonna count this shit?
He's having fun out there.
Ah!
He's too scared to climb up. He just wanted to experience what it was like being out there.
He wanted to feel something, anything.
Some excitement, some joy.
He wanted to just feel one thing in his life.
Listen, getting yelled at by
just wanted to
fucking
be
wrestlers
included.
takes a
I
toll
know.
on you.
He wants to make sure none of us die for
That's also true.
They're actually babysitters. I love that.
That's awesome.
Jeff, get up! You
My
made
neck.
me feel alone! 1, 2, 3, no way!
I can't. I'm getting carpal tunnel too much. I can't do that.
Okay, well, how about this? After this match here, we'll run a rumble, okay?
Nah, it's not good. Oh god.
You sit down.
Fuck you.
Dude, I'm about to fucking lose my finisher here. Wow.
Damn. Yo, Steiner got the fucking frames.
Um,
I'm trying to figure out how to do the goddamn 619.
so you have to run toward the ropes and press A together.
So wait, I have to press both.
While running towards the ropes.
While running towards the ropes. Okay.
Yeah, it's a little complicated in this game.
It's like, wait, does my opponent need to be in a position first?
No, you just do it.
Okay.
Oh, fuck. Oh, dicks and ass.
Fuck.
So, like, I run at them while the opponent's against the ropes.
Yeah. Oh no. No.
Oh, dicks.
That's on dicks. Ah, that really
My
is
head
on
went
dicks.
Straight into his bionic cock and balls.
That really was on dicks. That shit was 3, ref, and you know it. Ah! Ouch.
Elbow.
Oh shit! Ow! I'm sorry, Steve, I didn't know that was your finisher. Well, I'm trying to get it.
Shit.
Sorry, I got you with the armor install.
That was not the 619.
Let him work.
That was also not the 619.
Oh, fuck.
Here.
Now, hang on, I got a German to do.
That's fair. That's absolutely fair.
Damn, this match rules.
It does, doesn't it?
What the hell?
Like, there are barely points scored in this match. They just spend the entire time on the fist.
Ow.
They just spend half the time on the fist. Oh, hello!
Oh, shit! What a flip.
Wow.
That was awesome.
That was sick as fuck, yeah.
Take a Steiner screwdriver.
Jesus.
How the fuck did they just let him do that shit?
What?
The Steiner screwdriver.
Dude, I mean, are you gonna tell him though?
Great point, never mind.
Are you gonna fucking tell him not to do the move? I didn't think so.
Ankle lock!
Even though my knee has not been worked
toes.
this whole time.
Give me them toes!
Give me them toes.
Both of those delicious
Oh, what the-
feet just before for the fucking...
Those delicious feet.
Oh, that roll.
Oh no, my leg's
Moonsault!
fucked. My leg's fucked. Dude, TNA moonsault? That's crazy.
What the fuck are you doing, Ref? Oh my fucking god!
Kurt Angle. Call me Kurt Angle.
Oh, that would have been so
Oh,
funny.
Man, I was gonna hit the stunner. Man!
Crush you with his
American
little Trump hands. He will, dude. He won't think twice about it.
Gut wrench! Oh, what the fuck?
Oh no.
Tummy. Vtuber tummy.
He'll crush you with his little hands, and he won't tell you to talk during the
Oh,
backswing.
Dicks and ass. Oh,
Nope.
no, I'm
Hey,
down for
hey.
Hey.
Dude, I'm gonna get fucked here. Ow.
it. Oh, shit.
What?
Oh, the ref's out. That's way smarter.
The rest,
That's
the
one way to
rest
do
out.
it.
Little... I thought that said turn up hands, and I think that's way funny.
I can't escape the Steiner armbar. Fuck. Dude, Ray is just getting fucked sideways right now.
Stop!
Hey! Stop! Dude, Kurt.
That's what I'm talking about!
Dude, I think Kurt won this shit.
Why are they just chanting stereo? Yeah, they called him Ray Stereo.
Ray Stereo.
Beach break.
It's Ray Stereo.
There's a common enemy here, everyone.
The common enemy is who?
Kurt Angle.
That's what I'm
They're
talking
leading.
I mean, there's one person. Oh God, no.
What? It took
Well,
a couple
I
matches,
can't-
but I'm back at my element, baby. Kurt Angle. Call me Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
Fuck you. I just gotta not let anyone have any fun for the next 2 minutes, and I win the game.
You just gotta cock block everyone here, including the referee.
I just gotta
Fuck
beat
it.
the dog shit out the referee.
Fuck it. Fuck over the referee. Why don't you?
I was gonna get the ref.
You know what?
Where's that referee?
You know what?
There we go.
I don't like this referee. I just want to fuck on him for a minute.
Yeah, take some liberties.
Hey, can you pick me up so I can fuck on the referee, please? Can someone pick me up so I can fuck on the referee for a second?
Yeah, I got you.
Oh shit, hold on, he's locked in.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, be careful, he might start locking in on you.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Whoa! Oh my God, he's fighting back! He's fighting back!
Get the fuck out of the ring!
Fat ass Samoa Joe. Kurt, quickly go out there and do an Olympic slam on the referee.
Oh fuck, hold on.
Quick, we have 15 seconds left. Get him. Get him.
Germans!
Okay, fine. You know what? That works too.
Even better.
Fuck you. No, I'm not gonna have enough time.
And then Ray gets killed at the end.
That's what I'm talking about.
Poetic.
Yeah. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah!
Yes.
With the straps down.
That might be the greatest match in professional wrestling.
Hello, Mario.
Oh man.
Hi Ray J, welcome on in to tonight's Slum Boy Club meeting. You just missed a absolute spectacle. That was crazy. You know what? Those 3 like German suplexes were fucking clutch. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Okay, so I think for one of the last things we do tonight, right? We need to do a rumble.
Now, to remind you, if you pick any of the special arenas, like the Harbor or anything like that, it becomes an Aztec warfare where you get pin submission and all throw them off the stage, depending on the stage you pick. Like,
if it's like the Harbor from Hell.
Yeah, it's really hard, but you can win by performance submission or throw them off.
So you need to throw them off the stage.
Yes.
Do we want that?
If you want, I mean, that's up to you.
That's fucked up.
Everyone dies here.
So the harbor, the tanker, and the construction site has ways to throw them off the set.
Dude, I'm not even gonna lie. I kind of want to see just how fucked up it gets. But with how the CPU is, I know exactly what's gonna happen. It's gonna take like 10 minutes to get a single elimination, and I don't want that. So
that is actually true. Day of Reckoning.
Yeah.
The Day of Reckoning series is notoriously.
It is a tough game.
It's also the CPU is notoriously takes forever to beat to have.
Uke CPU is gonna use CPU, and I don't want that.
It takes like an hour plus for a whole rumble by itself.
Yeah.
So maybe we should just stick with a normal arena. And what arena is more normal than WrestleMania 19?
Yeah.
That's right. I'm a crack addict.
About to say, am I gonna be able?
There we go. All right, you just press start. They should be good.
It's about to say, can we just like pick guys here and then not play? Because I kind of just want to watch the Rumble, if I'm being perfectly honest with you.
I don't know how that works.
Oh, he can slap a tornado, all right.
Freaking Hardy.
Matt freaking Hardy.
Oh my god, wait, you could be GM Kurt? Holy shit. I didn't know that.
Coach.
That's awesome.
Oh, why?
Personally, I would pick Big Dick Fatu.
I'm going Skelton Benjamin.
Well, actually, I think I should pick someone we haven't seen all stream. Test.
Oh, this is a test.
This is a test to see if we can fucking
test all playing for 3 minutes. Have you seen the times where they put up on the vault of tests?
The Grand Pacer fitness test. Wait, can I like? Can I like fucking just watch the Rumble?
Is there a way to?
I don't think there's a. I think you have to put in a code, like a Game Shark code, to allow to watch Rumbles. I believe.
Ah, that's
you know
that's
all
shit.
about Game Shark, right, Teddy?
Shut up.
Ah, fuck it.
What we can do is just add it to at the end, and then we can watch like everyone else.
So
you pick. So just click on your character, and then just go to right to the end.
Okay.
Where Christian is.
Okay.
And you
Cool.
do it for everyone else if you want.
I think that I'm gonna go for like the. I'm gonna go for the goofiest goddamn first 4 that I can out of this.
Oh my! The bead cake.
The Brute High. Goddamn motherfucking with only 1 pupil. The Zodiac.
He's got a glass eye.
Yeah, look at him.
Yeah, that's fair.
My cat has now jumped on the table. Hi, Henry.
Henry.
Henry has joined us. Henry. It's.
I should have picked. I forgot I should have picked the dead man.
It's Christian.
I forgot that I should have picked fucking. I should have picked the Undertaker. Because Undertaker could do the fucking. He could do the big flippy over clothesline.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do it at just the right angle, you can eliminate yourself.
Yeah, that's yep.
9, 8, 7. Oh, hold on. You can hold Z to re-enter. That's awesome.
Yep.
So really, we could have just eliminated ourselves at the beginning, and then
Oh
just
shit!
watch
Here he
everyone
comes.
else. Ah, here he comes, the Zodiac. He's invisible.
Oh.
Wait, where is he?
Oh.
Go, 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 go.
Huh.
Where you at?
Brute's High, you need to go out there, man. It's your cue.
There is a mud arena, so
so maybe you clip through.
Maybe, yeah.
Oh. Do we have to restart this?
We'll see. Oh, Christian?
Oh my god, no, they are! Do you see that?
Yeah, they're going through, yeah.
Boy!
Where are they?
They were like disappearing into the arena. Okay, I'm gonna get my cat off of here because he's getting in the way.
Henry.
See ya, Henry. See
Bye,
fourth
Henry.
wall. Koshin versus Paul Heyman versus Eric Bischoff versus Vince McMahon. I think that'd be fucking awesome, honestly. Maybe not Vince. Let's replace him with someone else. Hold on. Exhibition. Royal Rumble. And let's do a normal arena so that way they don't glitch.
Yeah, let's just do Royal Rumble just to be.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll just do that. I'm picking Paul Heyman.
Oh, do we want to make a facetious for us?
Sumo choke slam? What? Okay, I don't think that's Paul Heyman's shit. A fun game to play when you're on a player select screen. Choose a wrestler that hasn't committed a crime.
That's a tough one.
Dude, why is it showing goddamn Roddy Piper to me right now? Twice. Alright, I'll move.
Alright, what the heck?
Yeah, because I don't think the game knows how to like portray like the original characters sometimes. Or rather,
Right.
like, the created characters sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, this right here is the compromise that they do, or rather, this is just what happens sometimes. They'll just fuck up like this.
Yeah.
That's fine. Okay, cool. Let's run this shit. I don't even know who's... Dude, I don't even know who the first two are. Because the portrait's messed up. I don't even know who...
Oh, Dudley.
Blubberate shot.
Do you know who I am?
Nope. No. No. No.
Come on, bounce! Fucking Bubba with the limb work immediately.
Days of
Oh.
Triple H in 2001. It was.
Oh, don't be miss. Oh, Bubba.
I had that rough period in my life where I was a
Day of
Dead by
Reckoning 1
Daylight.
is actually pretty quick. DOR 2 is the one that's really slow, comparatively.
Yeah.
To the later.
We'll see how fast they are in this one.
It should be at least a little quicker than 2.
Yeah.
They
Okay.
just beat each other up and don't
And
participate.
also because of the because of the lower walls, also will make them go quicker out, possibly.
Yeah.
I mean, Bubba would have probably been done there if Kane didn't get, like, tunnel vision. But...
Oh. Oh. Oh.
I need to prove that I could still do something here. Oh no, it's Cross Bennett. Fuck. Dude, I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't expect for, like, the wrestlers to get stuck in the entrance in that last attempt.
I did not either.
I was not expecting that shit at all.
Oh. Oh.
It's good to know the monsters are working together.
The Devil's Fair Demon and Kane working together.
That's not Kane, that's Steve!
That's Steve! Why the stop sound hurts so bad? Dude, the sound design in this game is awesome. Anytime you do a chop, it does the Johnny Test whip crack sound effect.
It's true.
It's so good.
It's the best. Ha! If you find my fingers! Dude, why is it quiet?
They're in awe of his fingers.
Don't talk during...
Oh.
Well, you see, they all know not to talk during the backswing. It's like I'm getting my ass whooped for real, lol.
Oh,
here we go.
I'm glad they get... Dude, look at all this
Suck
meat
it,
in the ring
yeah.
right now. That's crazy.
Yeah, suck it, dick, suck it, dick, yeah, suck it, dick, suck it, dick, yeah,
Oh.
suck it, dick. That's right. That's the lyrics.
Brooks.
Listen, man, I'm glad in 2004 he was, what the fuck?!
Demon! He used demon magic!
Look at me. Look in my eyes. I'm the demon now. I've always been the demon.
That was pretty obvious. CT will do that to you.
Cross Bennett has always been the demon.
Begging y'all to beat the piss out of this guy. Scott? Rhino?
Scott,
Terry?
please.
Scott?
Terry? Terry? Let's fucking lock in, Terry.
Oh shit.
Hey! Dude, why is the music so quiet?
Turn the music.
And why is it Goldberg's music?
We talked about this earlier.
Ding, ding, ding.
Well, like, listen, if I turn it up, I'm gonna get Zebra Head on my ass.
That's true.
It's not really because I'm pretty sure he comes out as with the evolution theme, but then yeah, it has a different victory theme for some reason. Oh,
What?
Oh shit.
You can come back to ECW, Rhino. After that. Oh, Randy Borton. Hey. In 2026, he's good. But in 2004,
Not at this
he's
point.
he's
At
Randy
this
Orton.
point, he's fine.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. At this point, he's okay. All right, cool.
Fujiwara.
I really need someone to get rid of this guy for fucking real. And who better than Christian Cage?
The problem
It's
solver.
Christian.
Wait, no, that's Tomko.
Yeah,
This song is called Problem Solver.
it is, and it's.
It's better than I remember.
I like this song when I was like a teen for some reason.
It's not a good Christian song, but it's a good Tomko song.
It's a good Tomko song. No, you're right.
Yeah.
That's very Tomko-esque.
Oh.
It's like Kafka-esque. But Tomko. That's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
At this point, Tomko's already looking at CNA.
Stone Cold has in it, so end the Royal
Rumble in the Royal Rumble, son. They call me the Demon Hunter. What?
Three.
What?
And how many demons? How many demons am I gonna fight? How many demons am I gonna put away tonight? 3?
Michael?
Michael? I got 3 things I want to talk about.
Stand me.
I said that man's name was Cross Bennett.
I said that man's name was redacted from history. Oh shit, Gourdbuster.
I said that man's name was CTE on Randy Orton.
3.
Oh.
Sorry, I hit 3 a bunch.
Dude, Cross is being completely just thrown out.
WrestleMania.
That's not where we're at. Dude, I tried to go to WrestleMania and the wrestlers just disappeared from the fucking from the stage. They didn't want to be there. I'll hunt demons, regardless of if they're K-pop related or not, right? You're my soda pop. What? My little soda pop. What? How many soda pops am I drinking today?
Oh shit, unprettier.
I said how many soda pops am I drinking today?
Oh, sorry about that, son. I wasn't paying attention.
3.
Sorry about that.
Thank you.
Demons.
I like myself a Pepsi Cola. What? Christian, you're selling?
Oh.
He doesn't need to sell shit. He's on his way out, brother.
There we go. He's on his way out.
We're
right
going up. It's
going
our
to
moment. What? Dude.
Making my way downtown.
Huh? What and fast? What and fast? Dude, someone eliminate this fucking guy, please.
This is why you don't put him in. This is why you leave him.
I didn't.
Pretend he's not in the game and don't put him in.
I didn't want to put him in, but it just showed up that way. I didn't even know he was in there. I'm pretty sure his thing was like, fucking John Cena. You drop kick and miss so hard you eliminated yourself. That right there was his resume to Ring of Honor. No, I'm supposed to be the Demon Hunter, son.
No fair ups about how we're gonna do bits. Christopher, please. Think of your.
I'm gonna fuck you. I'm gonna fuck you up, Christopher. What?
Hello, I'm the Demon Hunter. I hunt you, so you don't have to.
I'm gonna jump off of the thing.
This Royal Rumble is sponsored by Dollar Shave Club. What?
I'm listening to this Royal Rumble. Oh, never mind. I'm not gonna do it.
I'm taking my ball. I'm getting home. Oh, there he goes.
Hey guys, it's me, Charlie. What?
That's why John Cena fucking.
Holy shit! John Cena is rolling the roost. This match is sponsored by Old Spice Body Wash. What?
I'm next. Shawn Michaels.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I think I'm cute.
Whoa!
All right.
Sexy. I got the move.
Oh my goodness.
Drive the girls wild. I got the
Shit. Up and down.
Everybody with me. I'm just a sexy boy.
Coach, please. Once again, back is the incredible.
I'm sorry, actually, no, it should have been, homie, I'm leading the way. I got the fucking stupid arm taunt. Oh, shit!
Super kick.
It's the pure...
It's some fucking Young Buck spot. Wow.
Oh my
Dude,
God, wait, no,
he
Coach.
has like no stats. It's
I was gonna
crazy.
say, wait a minute. No, if Coach is fucking Daniel Garcia, I should hit this button first.
If Coach is Daniel Garcia, then... then, Andre's fucking Claudio.
Giant.
I just want Andre the Giant in Warhammer gear.
Honestly, you know what? Honestly, I like the idea. Andre is Claudio's base as fuck. Wow. Bounce!
I can't do it, Andre.
Oh, jeez.
I'm the emissary of Bartok.
I'm the emissary of violence.
Oh my God!
Oh, the ministry. Ministry's on Troy Hoss.
Holy shit, it's...
My name is Charlie Haas. I'm in my nice gear. I'm Charlie Haas.
What the fuck is this gear, dude?
I love this gear. This is him and Rico.
This is like vinyl gear. What?
Charlie Haas is locked in, man. I'm saying it's the power of having nice gear.
I mistake. It turns out Charlie Haas is the emissary of violence.
Wait, hold on. Charlie Haas is now the current emissary of violence champion.
Charlie Haas is welcome for Fiscal Mania.
Molly Holly? Holy shit. That's base as fuck.
Bald Molly is
Bald Molly Holly.
That's based.
I know, right? I keep forgetting Charlie Brown is in this game. No way. Holy shit, I really wanted Molly Holly to get that.
I need someone to do a modded picture of Charlie Haas as fucking... Oh, damn, what a counter.
As Claudio Castagnoli.
I need someone to do a picture of Charlie Haas, but it's just, you're a submission specialist, Charlie Brown. Oh, shit,
and he's in this gear. Steak! I can't now!
Go, Charlie, go! Go, Charlie, go!
Charlie.
Get his ass.
Charlie with your crazy ass gear. Come on, man.
Surpasses mainstream leader.
Prove that you are the emissary of violence. Let's do it.
Oh.
No! No! I forget how easy you can be eliminated in this game. Wow.
You think this shit is fake?
No, son, I'm the emissary of violence now.
Looks like you're the emissary of violence now.
Why is it Mickey Mouse?
No, it's Jerry. Oh, it's Jerry Lawler.
Oh, okay.
I'm fucking.
Ah!
Okay.
Emissary of violence! Ah!
Jerry, I need you to shut the fuck up.
Everyone knows.
In fucking hell.
Listen, everyone. Look in my eyes, King. Everyone knows that Bautista is the emissary of violence. Yeah! Charlie's kicks are low damage because he keeps missing kicks. Yeah, the football keeps getting pulled from him.
It's almost time for a 2.5 minute Cheetos break, my dude.
Is it? Fuck.
Oh, 2 bones.
2 bones.
Dude,
he's locked in.
No way. Dude, HBK's still in this match. I don't think anyone has lasted longer than him.
Are you okay?
Oh, Ricky.
Yes. I'm good.
I'd pass out.
No!
Goodbye, Sean.
Dude, Undertaker is cleaning house here, I feel like.
This is where the big boys.
I was about to say, this right here is WCW, brother. Please lay him out.
Team up with hardcore.
Don't slam.
You know,
Ah.
I'm feeling like Michelangelo. Maybe Da Vinci. That's my favorite NWO giant line of all time.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
He's just staring at him as his face out.
Holy shit!
Sucker!
You motherfuckers better grab that shit, sucker!
Please clip that. What the fuck? Dude, he knew just how powerful he was, and he took himself out of the match. That's crazy.
I forgot I gotta record the podcast. This episode, this Royal Rumble was brought to you by Blue Chew. It's like
Richie.
That's a real thing he says on the podcast.
Sponsored by Feed Me More Energy Supplements.
Bro legit says Blue Chew. It's like steroids for your wiener.
I know what it is.
You know who isn't steroids for your wiener? Who needs steroids for his wiener? It's Bill Goldberg.
My mom. No.
The Big Show down.
This is like my favorite fucking era of the Big Show too.
Wait, why?
Really chunky.
Why did Bret Hart come out to Firefly?
Because for whatever reason, this game did not have Legends have their themes for whatever reason.
What?
Yeah, no Legends had their theme songs. This is the first game with Legends, I think. Besides Heroes of Pain.
Yeah, correct.
Undertaker, what was that, man? That was him recognizing his power level and creating an even playing field.
Undertaker goes back to his home planet.
and he sells more dick enhancement. Ooh, holla if you hear him! Holla if you hear Chavo!
Someone go get Bam Neely.
Oh yeah. Oh no.
Ooh, Steiner!
I am actually almost certain I bought a Bam Neely card not too long ago.
Sorry.
Oh yeah?
I'm so sorry if that's my fault.
No. We were watching the Deadlock watch of
The Extreme Rules.
I was like, fuck yeah, Bam Neely. Oh, please tell me I actually bought it and it just isn't rotting in my fucking eBay watch list.
Oh, Batista?
Can you confirm to me that Bam Neely hasn't been canceled?
No. Backslide.
1, 2. Oh.
1, 2, 3. You're out.
I did buy the Bam Neely card. It is in my collection.
What if you got a Bam Bam Bigelow card?
I probably got a few.
You probably have a few?
I
love
have a few
that.
Bam Bam.
I love that for you.
Nope.
Oh my god, it's
Wait,
the Bash.
no way.
Danny Bash.
No way. Yeah, boy!
Of course. the most respected tag team in the League's Aggression era.
Wait, who's Danny Bash?
Literally, once again, back, it's the incredible Prime Animal, the Impenetrable D, right there.
Elbow drop.
A Basham, right there. Danny. Dude, fuck this guy for real. He gave me and Randall so much trouble.
Nope. Smells like nope.
But there's a part of me that wants him to go all the way.
Oh, Brett? Nope.
Chavo catching submissions.
It's almost time for a
No, I
2.5
can
minute
snooze it one more
Cheetos
time.
break, my dudes.
I will snooze it as much as I need to for this match.
Are you able to snooze it more than the 3 times?
What now?
Are you able to snooze it for more than the 3 times you're given?
No, I only had the 3 times, but I've been saving them up, so.
Gotcha.
Sharpshooter.
Is this limb work in a Royal Rumble match?
Shark shitter.
Dude, wow, that looks terrible in this. That's crazy.
That's because it's being done by Butt Shit Man Fart.
Butt Shit Man Fart, legal name.
Written.
Butt
You're welcome,
Shit
America.
Man Fart. I don't know why that got me so much, but it did.
Why are my lowest effort bits the one people are into these?
Because poop funny, okay?
Chavo?
Chavo's out! Chavo's out of there! By Daniel Basham.
This is the worst timeline. How dare Chavo Guerrero not win the Royal Rumble?
Brett?
Man, he really is Butt the Shit Man Fart here.
Oh.
Oh, shit.
Oh no, dude, I would have popped so hard.
Nah,
That's crazy.
I'm locked in for Danny Basham.
I am too. Holy shit.
Who's next? Let's see.
Sharpshooter.
Sharpshooter. Let's go. Why would you break that up?
It's funny.
Oh no. Get him out of here, man. I don't want him. Holy shit, his traps are ginormous in this.
Damn.
He looks like damn this game.
Yeah, bro looks like he just ate an entire box of Trenbolone sandwiches.
Bologna sandwiches.
Danny's still in it.
I thought that he was about to back body drop Brock out of this match. No! 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 Come on, man.
Batista.
Fuck you, Batista. Fuck you, Batista.
We gotta get all these fucking submission finisher motherfuckers out of here.
I know, right? I've had it up to here with Brett the Shitman Fart.
Jericho would have been equally as bad, too.
Or Butt the Shitman Fart. Give me those feet, boy.
Batista.
You fucking dumb piece of shit. Does he have anything that's not a submission for his finisher? Or is it just...
How do you like me now? How do you
I don't. I don't. Whoa! Spear from Brock Lesnar. Holy fuck.
Awesome.
That's awesome. That's what Undertaker's saying in the back after throwing himself out of the match.
Thank you for reminding me to get that soundboard.
Wait, me?
Back and forth.
That's awesome. We're just all elite Scooby-Doo. Oh shit, a bear hug.
That's vintage Batista. And this is vintage butt fart coming up here.
Here we go. Sharpshooter. Shitman.
It's my shit from a butt.
Yep.
God fucking damn it with this, dude. Making Hardcore Holly look really fucking strong.
Was fucking Holly running the Roderick Strong fucking elbow clothesline train?
Roderick Strong?
Yeah, you know that one where he, like, someone's on the ropes and he just does the running elbows back and forth by just...
Yes, yeah, I know that.
Holy shit, Brett just back body dropped him out.
Dude, no, literally, he did. He, like, fucking did what I wanted him to do, but, like, 3 minutes later.
Butt fart just flushed Brock Lesnar down the drain.
Butt fart? He just wiped Brock Lesnar with his ass, and now he's gone.
But the shitman fart trying to seize the bidet here.
I fucking thought that... Dude, I thought Batista was about to leave this match.
There was a good chance it could have happened, possibly, never know.
Like,
It's almost time for a 2.5-minute Cheetos break, my dudes.
What the...
big cake!
I can't avoid it this time, y'all. I gotta run the ad.
That's fine. Brutus Beefcake came out. Perfect timing.
I'm sorry. That's not his music, is it?
It's break time.
Okay.
Where the heck's the Cheetos, my dudes?
Because I was thinking, there's no fucking shot that is his music. That sounds nothing like what it. That sounds nothing like what it would be.
How about fighting games?
How about
Of course,
fighting
we have to
games?
begin with a
Oh, my.
long-awaited
Oh, fuck.
WWF attitude. While we have yet to
Very
review the
timely.
This game is so
64
cursed.
version, the PlayStation
It's so
version did not
bad.
live up to expectations. The
Yeah.
graphics are very disappointing, especially during entrances, but the character
Oh my God,
animations
banging
are
and
well
banging?
done. Some modes do not even have entrances. I wish more than 4 players could be in the ring at once. Special moves are not listed in the manual, but some are listed in the Create a Wrestler section.
This game is
Controls are okay,
absolute
but the
ass.
400+
Shit
moves
from
are
a
easy to
shit
remember
from a butt,
and have no
brother.
logical connection to
is
any
very
particular
bad.
buttons.
He's my
From
shit
a
from
butt.
a butt.
The ass kisser move
WWF attitude.
Still, you
He's my
can't beat a
shit from
game
a
that
butt.
offers this many options. We had a lot of
He's
fun
my shit
creating
from a
3 fat
butt.
black ladies fighting 1 skinny white
See,
turd.
I'm wise
You don't get to
enough
do that
to
every
know
day.
when a shit needs shit. I don't know, man. I'll shut up. I'm sorry.
Player 3 obviously can't win the match.
You know, usually when anyone sees this for the first time, their jaw hits the floor when they see this segment. But like,
Yeah.
it's very fun seeing people that are completely
shit is
like
so-
just
This shit
desensitized to it.
unfaces me.
It unphases you.
Yeah, I just kind of forget that life exists while I watch this and then just block it out.
It's like you repress it deep into the back of your psyche.
What are they kissing? Oh no! Oh no!
Yeah, the roster for this game is a little nuts, isn't it?
Oh, you play
I
as
can't
a...
believe Shane on commentary is crazy.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Mark.
Like, who the fuck is in this? Who the fuck is on the commentary in this?
It's Shane Jerry.
That is cursed. Wow. Why is Jim Ross not on the call?
Because
That's good. That's a good question, son.
Because I was busy having Steve Austin slap my ass.
Because the playoff game Warzone, which a once game, had Vince and JR on commentary.
Okay. So like
Om
they
nom
could
nom.
have just
Oh, excuse me, we're back, my dudes.
it's like they couldn't just swap out Vince for Jerry. They had to like get a new fucking booth.
I guess so, yeah.
That's crazy. I've never was Shane ever on commentary? Because I can't recall a time where he was.
Yeah, he was on Heat.
He was commentary a lot, yeah.
He was on Heat.
And it
Yeah.
was new, and it was a new program.
That's crazy, dude.
He was Shane Stevens.
Shane Stevens. Shane Stevens.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was
Okay.
officially a McMahon. Yeah, no, they
Adopted.
That was
You're
a turn
adopted, Shane.
that was a twin for. That was a turn for later. Yeah.
I hate to tell you, Shane, but you're adopted.
Damn.
I always knew it.
I still agree with CM Pulse's claim that Shane McMahon had to have top 10 best 20s of all time.
Best what ever?
Best 20s.
Best 20s ever. I mean, like, listen, man, it's very hard to get better than that. So,
What a life.
what a
All
lifestyle.
right, well, Hardcore Holly's out. Who's next?
Dude, dude, we
Real
lost.
reason JR wasn't there. Oh yeah, JR did have Bell's palsy. It's probably the actual answer.
Oh,
Holy
okay, I
fuck.
get it.
Batista just killed Bret Hart for real, and now he's just monkey punching the shit out
now,
of him.
and now he's
Making sure
making
he's dead.
And now he's
Oh, fuck.
making sure that
Fireman's
he
carrying
won't get back
Gutbuster.
up. And now he's making sure he's never getting back up.
Oh, big cake.
I heard they called you Brett the shit man fart, son.
Stacy.
Maven's favorite person. Let's do it.
What's that about?
Oh. Oh. Nope.
What's this Maven Stacy story about?
What now?
Maven Stacy? What's this about?
Oh, it's on his YouTube. He just kind of talks about her a lot. So.
Oh. Wow, I wonder what's going on there.
Oh.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Brett, new
Slow
legs to
down. Too much
sharpshoot on.
excitement's been happening.
Oh, they're gonna be tight.
You know, Batista's been kind of holding it down here, it feels like.
Yeah. Big Dave's has been rocking it.
He's been holding this shit down.
He's technically.
Oh shit! Hold on.
Oh
Hold on.
shit.
Hold on.
Oh
Man.
shit.
Hold on.
Oh shit. Ah, really, man? Yakuza fucking back looking ass. Just get him out the ring, you idiot.
I'm the bone cracker. I'm the bone cracker.
Cracker, I'm the bone cracker.
I'm the bone cracker. It's just an autism sting. Get his ass, Dave.
Get him!
Batiste!
Get him! To the outside! No, it's not gonna make it. Why would it? Oh my god. I'm back. Wait, are we already at the end here? No! Get him!
God damn it.
Get this son of a bitch. No!
This is like Goldberg gave him a concussion.
Come on, man. Remember, you're the bone cracker.
No, Goldberg's his bone cracker.
Eric Bone Cracker, they call him.
Well.
What? Roddy Piper? Why does he have Core as his theme? Oh yeah, that's right, because they don't have their music in this, do they?
Nope.
Like, Roddy's part of, like, the base roster. As in, like, when you put the game, he's already unlocked.
Yep. They just, for whatever reason, in the game, they just did not give him much themes.
Wow.
You guys have fun.
Oh. That's what I mean. No.
No!
I'm sorry.
That's all I'm talking about.
Is that to say, are, like, you guys all in the match now, then?
You gotta beat up.
Oh, no.
Y'all gotta gang up on Bret Hart for fucking real.
Trying.
Dude!
He is, like, going...
Dude, he's going nuts right now. He's going nuts!
He's locked in. Yo, that was actually pretty sick.
Yeah, I know. That was insane work.
Hold
wow.
on.
Jump, jump, Brett.
Beat his ass. Goon squad.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I got an idea. 3-post massacre.
Posts. Oh, I see what you're trying to do.
Sink.
I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to get him in the center, aren't you?
Oh, fuck. Kick. Thank you. Stop him out! Stop him out! White boys!
White boys!
And also Shelton's cool.
Sorry.
That's
oh my god! Stone Cold! Stone Cold!
Cold Stone.
Cold stones. Stones that are cold.
I'm so sad there's no karate poses for him.
I know, right? But he has like that one like idle stance, you know? That's like vaguely karate-esque. That's like SpongeBob karate, you know?
Yeah. He looks like he's like defending himself at the alley behind a bar or something.
I know. Like he looks like very uncoordinated. Dude, I'm just
insane how much work we're gonna have to do on Bret Hart here.
I was about to say, like, is Bret the main character here?
Apparently so.
Because he was fucking booked to go over, and he doesn't want to get screwed again. So now he's just shooting.
Oh, there we go.
Dude,
can it still selling me now?
I was about to say, can his momentum go down like now, please? That would be nice.
Here, you gotta do one of those like hold the button.
You know,
I got it. Hold on. I got you.
you know that video that people post of every
what the
Black
fuck?
History Month of like, you
That's
know,
fine.
black wrestlers beating up Hulk Hogan? That's what this reminds me of.
go!
Holy
Okay.
shit! Wow, that took you so long. What? Pfft, Eric.
The little Steve Austin bit.
All right, there's supposed to be one more person.
Wait,
Oh, small. Wow.
Can we get him in now? Because that person is me, I think.
Oh, it's over.
Oh, hey, there we go. There we go.
3.
It's over.
who'd you pick?
I don't even remember, dude.
We'll find out.
That's fine.
Oh my god! Look who the
Wait.
fuck it is!
Yeah, boy!
Yeah! Hi fucking yeah! You can't handle my Wu-Tang style, Bischoff!
Hey, Eazy-E, I got two words for you.
No, okay, got it too.
But
Oh, sorry about that. I didn't mean to just immediately eliminate you. Sorry about that.
I didn't get to say my 2 words to you.
Oh, what were you gonna say? Oh, fuck Team Up!
I was gonna say, but the shit man fart.
I'm sorry.
We got
What, it
2
looks like
fucking
you hit
masters right here. Wow, holy shit,
I didn't mean to actually lock in on you.
dude, you paid for it immediately.
That's fair. That was a pretty sick setup. I didn't.
You
could
paid for
actually
that
just
shit
T-phone me.
immediately. That was insane.
That was a sweet setup.
I know, dude. Is Sean gonna win this? Holy shit! No, no way. No.
Excuse me?
Okay, okay, I was about to say, if
stuck
you're
around
actually
a
gonna
little
try to do something,
Oh my god!
I would have laughed if you actually jumped and then eliminated yourself.
That was disrespectful. That was crazy.
And those timing.
Bret Hart, the fucking Iron Man.
I know, right?
We actually had to fucking gang up.
You had to like work for that elimination.
That was nuts.
He was reversing crazy.
All right, cool. I think that we've had a lot of fun here
That was
tonight.
fun.
It was so much fun, yeah.
But it's almost 4 hours in, which is when I usually rate out. So I'm gonna go ahead and Firefly.
Ding ding.
So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna fucking mute this and turn on my music here. Cool. All right, let's find someone to rate out. Is there anyone that you guys have in mind, or are you fine with whatever?
I don't know anyone.
Yeah, you do whatever.
Okay. We'll rate out to my friend Mr. Cool then,
Oh,
because
hell
he
yeah.
recently came back to VTubing and he has a cool new model. So
Ah.
yeah, we're gonna go and do that. Hold on just a second. I'm gonna get my raid message here. Raid message. Yeah, this game's a lot of fun, especially when I have people to play it with. So thank you guys
Yeah.
very much for that.
No problem.
And that concludes our time with Day of Reckoning 1, but we will be doing Day of Reckoning 2 here soonish, because I would like to do Crush Hour next week. I want to get... Dude, I need to get the Twisty Rockets. I don't know what to tell you. So, I need them. I need them like I need air.
Has the twisty
The Rocket now has the Twisty Rockets.
Steve Austin just picked up the Annihilator.
Trish Stratus now has the laser-guided rockets.
Rakesh has the laser guided stink face. What a great story.
His laser-guided rockets are homed in on my ass. Boom, boom. Yeah, we're gonna have fun with it. next week. But for tomorrow, we're gonna be doing more backyard baseball. We have a fucking rematch against the Mets that we need to win because the last one that we had against them was way too close for my liking. So we need to crush them. We need to crush them.
Gotta beat their ass.
It's, dude, they say it's all about the Mets? Fuck the Mets. Fuck the Mets.
Let them know.
Fuck the Mets. It's all about the humongous Hornets, baby.
That's what I'm talking about.
We're gonna.
That's what I'm talking about.
The Hornets. Holy shit, that was long. Wow.
That's two of those. It's the JBL pyro.
Oh yeah, that's
from
right.
The
With
last
this
standard definition raw, where they just used like years worth of pyro.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember. That's fucking awesome. It's all about the St. Louis. Fuck the Cardinals. No, I haven't faced them yet, so I can't really say anything. But yeah, that's what we're gonna be doing tomorrow with Zachary in chat. But again, for now, I want to thank my friends right here, Ritsu, Teddy, and Sarah Skywalker. Thank you guys very much. This was a lot of fun.
This is
It's so much fun. Yeah.
I know. It was
Thank you so much.
Thank you for starting later so I can be here.
Absolutely. Fuck the Cardinals and the White Sox. Well, fuck you, Zach. You could take your Tigers and you could shove them up your booty hole.
No Cubs. Except not, dude.
Okay. Let's raid out. Let me go ahead and start the raid. I may as well say, too, that tomorrow we are going to, rather this Sunday, I should say, we're going to be watching AEW Revolution over in my Discord server. Sorry, we'll be watching it live as it happens, so if you want to watch it with, you know, like-minded wrestling fans, come on around. We would love to have you there for it. But, for now, let's start the raid, and let's go and give my friend Mr. Cool some of that Long Boy Club love. Should have been a Cubs fan. That's what my dad always said. You know what? That right there is what my dad told me, but instead I ended up a White Sox fan because... Listen, I just want to be different, okay? I'm a fan of underdog teams.
I'm an Angels fan. And I became an Angels fan because I just like Shohei.
That's fan.
And now he's not on the team.
So now are you a Dodgers fan?
No. Fuck no. No, dude. I stick by my teams. I'd suffer with them.
Fuck Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
Fuck him and the boat he rode on.
Yeah.
Alright, we'll see you all tomorrow. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.